brought to you by Ford Motor Company on behalf of your Ford and Mercury dealers from coast to coast. The Bank of Nova Scotia with nearly 1,000 branches across Canada to serve you. Canadian General Electric, progress for people since 1882. And by Molson, Canada's name in beer since 1786. Brewers of Molson Export Ale. Down but never out describes Montreal in these playoffs. Unbeaten in 6 games. They've come from behind for 4 of those victories. Such was the case Saturday night when they scored 3 times in 84 seconds.
Over the line. Robinson coming up. Here's Lafleur. Lafleur over to Lemaire. Lemaire getting set. There's the shot. They score! Looked away. Isobar to Gainey. Jarvis and Lapointe coming up on the play. Here's Gainey. Scores! And now we have exactly a minute left in the period. Lemaire, she scores! Lemaire!
Now it's game 3 of the semifinals as the series shifts to Boston Garden on May Day. If that suggests panic for the Bruins, they would argue that they're playing well enough. The only thing they have to change is the score. Good evening, everyone. I'm Dave Hodge, and with me, Danny Gallivan, Dick Irvin, and Gary Dornhofer. If you had to pick a turning point in advance in a best-of-7 series, you might do well to pick Game 3. And here we are tonight, the Canadians leading 2-0. If they win this game, it looks as though they're going to the Stanley Cup final again. But if the Bruins can get this one, it could be a rather long series, somewhat similar to last year's Stanley Cup final, when the Canadians won the first 2 games, but the Bruins came back to the Garden and evened it at 2. That's what they're looking to do this time, and they'd like to do it the same way they did last time, taking advantage of the smaller ice surface, getting the cheering from their fans. And last year, they scored a goal in the opening minute of each of games 3 and 4. That would help tonight if they could take the lead. We asked Brad Park about the mood of the Bruins.
The mood in our hockey club is that we played well in Montreal, but we came up empty. They're up 2 games to none. We can't be satisfied with that. We've got to get out and get a game tonight. And there isn't a building where we play as well as we do here at home in the Boston Gardens.
So the Bruins will try to forget what happened in Montreal. Though they played well, they did lose, and there had to be some frustration attached to that. In Boston today, big news was who would Don Cherry start in goal for the Bruins. He has made his decision, and to reflect on that, let's go to Dick Irvin and Gary Dornhofer.
All right, Dave, the Boston Garden is jammed, as you can see. Our French confrères are ready for La Soirée de Hockey, and we are ready. Gary Dornhofer with me, and as Dave mentioned, the goaltending situation in the Bruin camp has been a question mark all day here in Boston. It looks like Gilbert is going to get the call to start. Gary, does this surprise you?
Well, yes, it does. Gilbert has not played in a playoff game. He's getting his first start. I think he's going to be ready. You know, he's always a challenging goaltender, and I think he'll be ready for the task. He better be tonight, because the Bruins certainly don't want to fall behind 3-0.
Sometimes coaches will play a hunch. Is Gilles Gilbert the kind of a goaltender that might come through in that situation for Don Cherry?
Well, if I can look back a few years, I remember when we played him in the series, and what a display he put on in the final game, 1-0. So he can do the job.
Gary, a lot of talk about the smaller ice. It's 9 feet shorter, 2 feet narrower than the Montreal Forum. Bruins play it tough in this building.
Well, they forecheck so very well, and that's very important for them tonight. They have to get on the Canadians and get them to cough the puck out of their own zone. As we all know, Montreal, a very freewheeling skating hockey club, and playing in this smaller ice surface, it may hinder them a bit. We'll have to wait and see.
Do you expect, you know, it's been a physical series in a way, but it hasn't been a rough series from a penalty standpoint. Do you expect more of that tonight?
Well, you know, Montreal, very disciplined hockey club. They don't take those bad penalties. That was the Bruins took a bad penalty the other night, lost the game, and I think that if the Bruins are going to get back into it, they have to play a very disciplined game tonight.
Okay, Gary, we'll see what happens. From a lineup standpoint for the Canadians, Guy Lapointe will not play tonight. Rod Langway in his place. Wayne Cashman is in uniform for the Boston Bruins. Our Stanley Cup playoff coverage will continue in just a moment.
Get away, make your getaway from the city. Get away from the jungle. Get away, make your getaway to a place in the sun.
50 years, more people in the world have been getting away with Johnson's than with any other outboard.
Smart man, Larry. When he got to be a family man, he decided to go first class in his choice of tires and picked the one and only Michelin. Like Michelin quality so much, put a set on his truck. And even on his 10-speed. The one and only Michelin.
It's the only tire I'd own.
Michelin.
Who does it come to when it's in front? Here are the starting lineup for tonight's game. This first day of the merry month of May, it better be a merry day for the Boston Bruins. Otherwise, they are in deep, deep trouble. This is Danny Gallivan in the broadcast booth. And having joined me from 30 feet away, Dick Irvin and Gary Dornhofer. And you know, hockey interest in Boston dropped decidedly, gentlemen, when Bobby Orr left. And I noticed when the Bruins came on the ice tonight, from this jam, Boston Garden a standing ovation. So they got the fans with them, if nothing else, tonight.
Well, it's so very important to have that home crowd voicing their opinions out there. It certainly inspires players. When you have the home crowd really hollering and screaming for you, the players respond to that, and I'm sure the Bruins will too.
Well, there is Gilles Gilbert, who is going to start in goal for the Bruins. Played 23 games this past regular season at 3.54 goals against average. Has been wondering about his future here in Boston. Has not had a happy season. Played just once against the Canadiens this year and played very well. Back on the 5th of November, a 1-1 tie here in Boston. There in the background is the cheer for Gilbert as they announce the starting lineup over the public address system here at the Boston Garden. Jerry Cheevers, who played the games at Montreal, and of course who is well known as a tough goaltender at playoff time, is not playing tonight. He did not have that good a start to this series in Montreal. Not that bad, but he wasn't as sharp as Cheevers has been in the past, as the ovation for Gilbert continues here at the Boston Garden. So Don Cherry figured that he would make the change. Cheevers does have a knee problem. It's been suspect a little bit. And he goes with Gilbert tonight. Well, there's that crowd, Gary. They are ready.
Well, they're ready. I'm sure they want to see more than just 2 games here in Boston Garden.
There's the color guard. Wayne Cashman, as we mentioned, is back in uniform. Bit of a surprise. He had gone to hospital. There's Cheevers in the Boston bench area. For Montreal, Guy Lapointe, a notable absentee tonight. A hand injury suffered in Saturday's game. Rod Langway, a New England native, taking his place on the Canadiens' defense. Now we have the national anthem.
officials for tonight's game. They'll be coming up in a minute. There they are. Andy Van Halleman. He's your referee. You saw him point there. Claude Bayshard and Jim Christensen. And we're going to have a look at the goalies. That'll be coming after they smooth that area in the center ice. Dryden down in the far end. Then we'll have a look at Gilbert. I want to ask Gary Dornhofer. In my opinion, Ken Dryden plays the best hockey anywhere right here in the Boston Garden, and it goes back to his first series in '71.
He always comes up big around playoff time.
And often you'll get the young fella coming in like Gilbert. He's not that young, but he's coming in at a time when they have to win a game.
Well, I think this is a real challenge for Gilbert, and he wants to prove Cherry wrong for not playing him sooner.
And so the game is underway. Millbury ahead, and it's deflected in over the line by Rattel. And the Bruins, as expected, go to the attack. Out it comes, and it's returned quickly, and it is offside against the Bruins. That will be the pattern, I would think. Get in there, press the Canadians, and try to get them to make mistakes.
Well, they better do that. You can't let Montreal keep coming to you the whole night.
Now it's Gainey into Robinson. Savard back to Robinson. It's out over the line. Jarvis gives it to Lafleur. Gainey is on the left side. Gainey goes in, but Gilbert cleared it on the other wing. Now Rattel. Gainey in there. Canadians trying to do some forechecking. They succeed. Robinson keeps it in. Now it's Rattel around the net. Millbury faked a pass. Finally, he gets it out over the line, and it's fed back in by Savard. Clark rolling it to center. Lambert comes off the bench, tries to get that pass. It's behind him. Could be icing against the Canadians.
Mike Millbury, another native New Englander playing for the Bruins. You've got Langway for Montreal, Miller for the Bruins, number 14. This is the first playoff game here this year. In the regular season, the Canadians played twice, a 1-1 tie on the 5th of November and a 3-3 tie on the 1st of April, in a game in which the Bruins were ahead by 3-1 in the third period.
Face off to the left of Dryden. McNabb is at center. Wensing on one wing and O'Reilly on the other. Langway in uniform number 17. He clears it to the other side. Now Trombley is on it at center. Couldn't hold it very long. McNabb to O'Reilly. He's knocked down by Langway. Puck is in the corner, and that's Engblom. Engblom off the glass into the center ice area. Rick Smith playing it up on the far wing. Here is Engblom making that move at center. He rolls it in. Doak is going in, watching him as Tremblay. And as Gilbert gets it up ahead, McNabb rolls it into the center ice area. Neither team has had a scoring opportunity as yet, and we played a minute and 33 seconds into the period. Now Wensing. Ahead it goes to McNabb. McNabb over for O'Reilly, broken up by Lupien. Here's Lemaire, long shot. And Wensing from the corner snaps that shot off the boards. It goes to Lafleur. He tried to set up Mondu. Now McNabb ahead on the left side to Wensing. He's barging into the corner, ridden into the boards by Lupien. Now Savard got it out to center. Here is Park for Boston. Forward checking deeply is Lafleur. Foster hitting the line. Foster is belted by Lupien. Now Brad Park moves up on the right side, going in against Lupien. Mondu picking it up for Montreal. He flashes it off the board. Now Lemaire is getting a break. Here's Lemaire going in. Gilbert out of the net. Into the corner, Lemaire. Brad Park is trying to tie it up. Canadians with it. Back to Lupien. Here's Cashman out over the line at center. He's bumped by Lupien. Cashman shooting it in over the line. Savard ahead off the boards. The Bruins are on it again. Arc over to Sims. Back in it comes Robinson out for Lafleur. He was knocked down by Brad Park. Now Sims over to Marcotte on the right side to Cashman. Lafleur tipped it back into the Boston zone. Lafleur and Brad Park going in. Gainey shooting it. He hit the side of the net. Canadian Jarvis centering it out. Jarvis is upended in front. Here's Lafleur shooting it. The shot is stopped. Here's Savard at the line. His shot right on. And Gilbert cleared it into the corner. Brad Park getting it to Foster. Over to Marcotte. He's belted by Connor. They're beginning to lay the body on. Brad Park hit Gainey. Foster clearing it into center to Robinson. Back it goes to Chartrand. Chartrand to Robinson. Robinson into the center ice area. Ahead is broken up by Foster. Foster plays it on the left side. There's Jonathan to Connor. Jonathan struck Connor. Now the play is out into the center ice area. And this looks as if it's going to be a rough one. Miller alone, shot right on. Dryden just saw it at the last split second. Puck is into Boston territory. Rick Smith back after it. He falls, and it is icing against the Canadiens.
From the Boston Garden, this is Stanley Cup 79. A lot of heavy checking so far, Gary, but all of it good, solid, legal stuff right there, Jonathan and Connor.
Well, just prior to that, Connor had laid one of the Bruins out, and Jonathan was just getting even, and good body work.
And now Boston, everybody up for the face-off. It's cleared into the corner. Robinson to the other side. Here's Jonathan Sutter, get right in front of the net. And Miller couldn't get a stick on it. Miller along the boards to Duke. He cleared it in. Now Tremblay rolled it into the center ice area. Rick Smith to Duke. Duke is belted by Lambert. Anything that moves is hit out there. Here's a break for Risebrough. Risebrough going in a goal. He shoots out a spectacular save by Gilbert.
Boy, that's a perfect play all the way up the ice, Gary. The pass right on the money. Risebrough taking it to the back end, and then the super stop by Gilbert.
That's what Montreal Canadiens do so well. As soon as a defenseman gets it, in this particular case it was Robinson, the forwards, they start breaking. And Risebrough, he was in home free, and, you know, for the Bruins to get back in it, this is the type of goaltending they have to get. Big play by Gilbert.
Boy, Gilbert had a dicey moment earlier on when he came out of the net. Lemaire couldn't quite reach the puck. He was way out. Again, Gainey almost caught him out of the net. Might have been a little nervous, understandably so, but right there, a stop like that's got to do an awful lot, not only for the team, but for the goaltender. Now, Bowman is upset with Van Hellemond over the referee denied him a change. And there's the explanation now to Doug Risebrough. I guess we're just about set to go. The Canadiens coach unhappy. And at the other end, the usually sartorial, splendid Mr. Cherry is working on the gun.
Okay, a question. Will he be here next year? The betting is that he will not.
I wouldn't let him get away.
Now, after that great save by Gilbert, the Bruins coming to the attack. It's rolled over the line by Rattel. Robinson, he missed Lemaire with it. No score in this hockey game. Exactly 15 minutes left in the opening period, and it's Lafleur twisting and turning. He gets the pass to Mondeau. Lafleur was upended. Mondeau rattled that one off the leg of Milbury. Puck is in the corner. Rattel trying to get by Lafleur. They jam in on the boards, and they get a whistle for a face-off.
This is the third straight year that these teams have come into Boston for Game 3 with the Bruins down by 2. Tonight's Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Boston Garden. Here's Bobby Schmatz, the victim of the unfortunate penalty call to Boston. Unfortunate the way it turned out Saturday night. Opened the floodgates for Montreal to come from behind and win it.
Canadians moved quickly, so did the Bruins. Of course, it was almost a year ago. It was the final series when Bobby Schmatz was the big hero in that overtime victory against the Canadiens by the Bruins. 4-3. Now into the corner. Brad Park. Canadians up there forward-checking with Connor, Jarvis, and Gainey. The Bruins, Park. He's the quarterback. He gets it up on the left side. Wensig drills it into the corner. McNabb going in against Langway. It's to the other side. Connor. Out it goes to Gainey. Gainey coming down, putting on the brakes inside the line. He tried to hit Jarvis with it, and the Bruins get it up on the left side and is down into Canadian territory. Gainey takes that pass again, try to set up Connor. Wensig Rolls it to center. Here's O'Reilly. He's been a standout in the series so far for the Bruins. He was their star in the first game. O'Reilly bumping with Langway. In behind the net. Winsick tried to pick it up. They reach for it. Jarvis falls. Now Jarvis being watched by Winsick. The Bruins should be happy here to get a whistle and a stoppage in play, and that's what they get.
Well, we welcome Gary Dornhofer to our Hockey Night in Canada playoff coverage. I don't really know how to put this, Gary, but maybe some of our younger viewers who, of course, recall you as a member of the Flyers, but perhaps I should tell them you also played for Boston. It wasn't that, no, really. It wasn't that long ago.
That's going back a few years, and I remember those years very well. I had my start, and, of course, I was up and down like a yo-yo for 3 years. At that time with the Boston teams, by Christmas, Boston and New York, they were both out of the playoff picture and fighting for last spot.
Weren't you a teenager when you started here?
I was 19 when I first came to Boston.
So the Bruins, everybody up, they have Cashman on with Foster and Middleton. Savard has it ahead to Lambert. Lambert missed Risebrough. Risebrough having that glorious, glittering scoring opportunity earlier. Is Gilbert coming up with a resounding save.
Still no score. This is Stanley Cup 79 from the Boston Garden.
To the left of Dryden. And now we have Rick Smith and Sims. They're in over the line. You can't see them. They're on the point. Foster tried to draw it back. He couldn't against Risebrough, and it's Lupien behind the net. There's no score. 13:25 left in the opening period. Cashman playing with a bad back, gets it to Middleton. Over the line, Savard hands it off to Lupien. Lambert ahead to Risebrough. And you notice there's not too much center ice room in this rink. 191 by 85. Lupien ahead to Lambert. Out it goes. Lambert picks it up himself. Down in on the left side. Draped in on the boards by Rick Smith. Here's Cashman. Cashman dropping it back. Sims gathering speed on the left side, drilling it in. The Bruins racing in, led by Cashman and Middleton. Now it's Savard. He leads a four-man attack. As for Risebrough into the corner, Lambert is getting in front. Lambert goes to the corner, centered it. Intercepted by Middleton. Middleton coming back, shovels it over the line. Here's Cashman. Middleton shoots it, and it goes off the leg of Lupien. For a fraction of a second, that looked like a dangerous situation. And a productive one for the Bruins. But an awful leg. Now in over the line. Mondu. He has as many moves as any other player in the league. That time he doesn't move too much. He gives it to Lemaire. Into the corner. There's Mondu moving on the right side. Mondu twisting and turning in the corner. Mondu trying to center it. Still with it. Now he has it. Mondu getting set. He shoots it wide. That may have ricocheted off a leg. Rick Smith ahead on the wing. Chartrand bounces it back in. Lafleur to Lemaire. Over it goes to Mondu. The shot. And it's blocked by Gilbert. Good pressure here by the Canadians. Now the puck is back out and down the ice. Chartrand off the stick of Lafleur. Redmond on the ice for Boston. He's a good Russian defenseman coming out. He lugs it beautifully up on the left side. Marcotte getting it into the corner. Here's Smots against Robinson. There's no score. Canadians, Lemaire. Lemaire out with Mondu. Long shot by Lemaire. He remembers that night in Chicago in '71 when he scored from center, I guess. Every time he takes a center ice shot. Now it's into the corner. Up on the left side. Robinson getting it to line, not out. Brad Park whistled one just wide. Marcotte into the corner. Now the Bruins have the pressure. Marcotte trying to center it. Jarvis at the line. Twisting and turning ahead to Connor. Connor coming in. He spun Brad Park around. Now Connor and Redmond in the corner. They get picked up fairly high. And in there, Miller also.
With the score, the Canadians nothing, the Bruins nothing. This is Stanley Cup 79. This is Dick Irvin along with Danny Galvin, Gary Dornhofer, and Dave Hodge. We are at the Boston Garden. 10:45 left in this scoreless first period. Of course, at Madison Square Garden tonight, the Rangers are hosting the Islanders. I believe that one began at the same time as this game. We'll keep you posted when we get the scores.
Canadians, everybody up. However, they fail to keep it in. There's Middleton racing down. Langway got back smartly. Now Connor at his line left it for Angblom, and the play is stopped. Dick, I have news for you. In Regina on Friday night, there's a huge, and I really mean a huge, sports dinner, and guess who's going to be there? Red Story. They're battening down the hatches already in Regina.
Big one coming out there as well, a testimonial dinner for somebody who really deserves it, Ronnie Lancaster, just before the start of the CFL season. Canadians squawked there. The Bruins had quite a change, Gary. They got a real good lead time on the man leaving the ice and the one coming on. Bowman was up on the bench on that one.
Robinson clearing it ahead. Milbury slapped it in. Oh, that took a funny bounce. Dryden clearing it off the glass. Here's Miller. Miller getting separated for the backhand. It needs the goal post. Middleton, I think, hit the goal post on that backhand shot.
Well, that was the first real good opportunity for the Bruins tonight, and what a great chance.
You're right, Gary. The Bruins have not been that dangerous from a scoring potential standpoint until this moment right here. Middleton's backhand, I believe it was, seemed to thread its way through right there. And it did go off the post. Savard and Dryden, mainly Savard, covering up on the play.
Jonathan was standing right there, and the rebound just didn't come to him. Went right under Dryden.
Robinson hit the net trying to clear it behind. Middleton failed to hold it in. Brad Park lays it in behind the net. Now Park, a good move to get away from Connor. He hit the referee. Park carries on the left side. Gives it to Miller over the line. Stopped by Risebrough. Robinson. He failed to hit his man. Risebrough going in. Here is Park. Park is turning with Miller, who takes the pass in the center ice area. In it goes. Here's Jonathan with Middleton in front. Jonathan. Now Park going in to help out. Middleton on the other side. Middleton along the boards, getting set to center it. In on the boards against Lambert. Robinson. Ahead it goes to Risebrough with Trombley in over the line. Drop pass to Trombley. Trombley going in a goal. Firing it. And Gilbert stopped it. Here's Trombley again. Clearing it in. Lambert is covered by Rick Smith. Robinson from the left side. Now hopping on it the other side. Trombley. He's bodied by Rick Smith. It's centered to the corner of the crease. Middleton. He rolled it down on the right side. And again, good pressure by the Canadians. And that is icing against Boston.
Well, there's Peter McNabb, a big fella for the Bruins in more ways than one. And by his own admission, not off to a very good start in this series. And they've got to get some production out of him. And I would think, Gary, that somebody like McNabb in this building would be a pretty good performer for Don Cherry with the size and, you know, the type of play that they come up with here in Camp Boston.
Well, there's no question. It's very important that they put a lot of pressure on the Canadians in their zone, and they haven't really had any puck control. Here's Trombley with a shot. You know, he could have moved right in there. There's nobody close to him. He lowered his head to take that slap shot, and I guess he didn't really see the opening in front of him.
No score in the hockey game. 8:55 left in this opening period. Each team has had what you would term one very good scoring opportunity. Now O'Reilly against Savard. Lemaire try to clear it back. O'Reilly doing yeoman work in there for Boston. Marcotte. O'Reilly has lost his stick. He and Savard in on the board. McNabb looking for it. What O'Reilly could do with a hockey stick. Finally, he picks one up. Here's O'Reilly. O'Reilly getting set. Back to Rick Smith. Rick Smith back in there for O'Reilly. O'Reilly trying to center it. Into the corner. Marcotte to O'Reilly. O'Reilly tied up by Lupien at the line. It's kept in. Now the Canadians, Mondeau with Lafleur. They're in over the line. Mondeau firing it, and that was nowhere near the net. Lafleur follows up and clears it back in. Here's O'Reilly, and he knocked it to center. McNabb is in over the line, taking it to the plate. He carries on. Now Mondeau after McNabb. And the play is stopped.
You know, the Bruins, or the Canadians rather, they do just such an excellent job of checking. You notice how they were taking that man out against the boards.
Still no score. This Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Boston Garden. Most of Charlie Seaton.
Hey, come on over to our place. Dad's got a few beer on ice.
Sounds great.
For years, the folks around these parts have given the guy a hand and shared a little Molson Export Ale.
Listen, I called the girls to come over for supper.
Terrific. That means we can leave the tractors here for the...
How's that leg, Charlie?
Oh, it's getting along. Say, I sure do owe you guys a vote of thanks.
Hey, what are friends for, eh, Charlie?
Molson Export Ale. It keeps on tasting great.
So the face-off to the left of the big lawyer from Hamilton, Kenny Dryden. No score, 7:45. Here's Brad Park shooting it. Rebound right over. I score! Jonathan!
Now, two key things here, Gary. Number one, the Bruins win the face-off cleanly. Number two, the Canadians cough up a rebound and don't clear it.
Well, Park made a great play by just laying that puck onto the net. You know, it's very important for a defenseman to make sure he hits the net. Now you're going to see Jonathan heading for that net. Picks it up, gets it high over Dryden's shoulder. And, you know, the Bruins have been waiting for Jonathan to break loose, to get into the form that he was in last year.
Yeah, that'll make the viewers in Hagersville, Ontario happy. That's Stan's hometown. And at 12:19 here in this first period, the Bruins break the scoring ice. The goal by Jonathan giving them a 1-0 lead.
Jonathan from Park and Foster. So the Bruins leading 1-0 in Redmond, firing it back into the corner. Is that 12-19? Now it's icing against the Canadians. So the Bruins, and of course, Gary Dornhofer, you've got to get that first goal. It certainly enhances your chances of winning that first game.
Well, here we're going to, again, see the shot. Dryden probably should have covered up a little better because there wasn't anybody in front of him. On the rebound, Jonathan kicked it up to his stick and shot it. Dryden never had a chance to move on it. Very important, though, for the Bruins to get off to this good start because they know the people will be behind them. It'll give the guys on the bench a lot of confidence.
And now the face-off again in Montreal territory. Rattel against Lemaire, two great veterans of this hockey in the National League. Now on the left side, Rick Smith is trying to dig it out in. He gives it to Schmott right in front. Knocked away by Chartrand. Canadians bursting out, led by Mondeau. Mondeau to the right side, firing it into the other wing. Number 10, Lafleur. He's around the net, and Rick Smith gives it to Rattel. Ahead to Marcotte, into the corner. Robinson is watching Schmott. It goes to the other side. Lafleur tried to clear it. Finally, it's out into the center ice area, and Milbury rolled it back in. There's Dryden. Rather nimble, moving away out. Canadians led by Robinson with Lafleur and Lambert to the Boston line. Robinson trying to get through there. And the whistle goes.
Well, Larry Robinson surprised when the whistle went, but Don Marcotte had nudged Guy Lafleur rather strongly over the blue line as Lafleur put on the brakes right at the line, so that's through the play offside.
That's always a good play. When you're coming back with a man and he straddles that blue line, just give him a little nudge. Very rarely do they call that, an interference penalty, but Marcotte, what a tremendous job that he has to do tonight. You know, very important. He keeps that Lafleur off the scoreboard.
Talking about the scoreboard, just one goal showing. Jonathan for Boston. And there's the fellow who engineered it, Brad Park. He took the shot, and Jonathan picked up the rebound, and Park getting it ahead. To Redmond out over the line. Middleton rolls it in. Digging in there, O'Reilly and McNabb. Lupia in the corner. McNabb is going after him. O'Reilly gets it. Here's O'Reilly getting set. He put it right in front. And Brad Park couldn't clear it in. A 3-on-1 break. Lambert to Rysbrough. To Lambert. That was off the leg. Gilbert came out. He may have got in front of it. Now Middleton struggling to get out on the right side. He tipped it into the center ice area. Lupien to Savard. Here's Lupien again on the right wing. Tremblay trying to get it is chopped by Redmond to Middleton. Middleton with McNabb. They're over the line. Back to Middleton. Middleton dropping it. O'Reilly along the board. Savard clearing it in there for Lupien. Just over 5 minutes left in the opening period. There's a pass deflected by Foster. Lupien is forced to go back deeply. He gets it ahead on the left side. Gainey. Pierre LaRouche is on the ice. I think that's the first time in this period that he's been out. There's LaRouche going after it on the right side. Jonathan dropped it back. It's Cashman. Ahead it goes. Foster. He tipped it in there. And we have Foster, Jonathan, and Cashman in for checking. Canadians start out. LaRouche, he has a good shot. There it is! And he blazes a shot wide. It went all the way off the boards in one corner down to the Canadian zone. Langway, stopped by Jonathan. Here's Jonathan around the net trying to jam it in from the corner. Dryden is down. Foster and Langway shove each other.
And the shoving continues, but that's about it. Great chance for LaRouche, and he fired it just wide. The Bruins lead the Canadians 1-0 live from the Boston Garden, the Stanley Cup playoffs.
The Mach 2 by Arrow. A tapered shirt that fits you perfectly, because only the Mach 2 is tailored to the contours of your body, with a dart here and here. Has sleeves the length you choose, and if you wish, a patented marked collar. The only collar shaped to fit the cone of your neck. That's the Mach 2, the perfect tapered shirt. Fittingly made only by Arrow.
Danny, remember 1971, we're in here for the first game of the first round, and it was Ken Hu playing goal for the Canadiens.
Come a long way, hasn't he?
A little bit.
Gary LaRouche, could he have gone in a little farther? We'll have you answer that later. Now as Jarvis ahead to Gainey on the left side, over the line. Park takes over. He does it in a very cool fashion. Chartrand bumped Jonathan. Robinson ahead. Connor was going the other way. Redmond back to pick it up for the Bruins. 4 minutes and 7 seconds left in the opening period. Boston leading 1-0. Redmond fires that shot in off the boards. There is Jonathan bumping with Robinson. Cashman going in. Miller trying to jam it. And it bounces on the short side, goes behind the net. Robinson after Jonathan. Robinson gave Jonathan quite a belt on the board. There's Park centering it. Now here's Miller, a shot, and it's a weak one. Pressure here by the Boston Bruins. Connor on the boards over to Gainey, and it goes into the center ice area. Brad Park ahead to Marcotte. Good move by Marcotte, going in a goal, and it's stopped actually fairly easily by Dryden because he had that short side covered.
Horse racing fans are reminded that Sports Weekend will present 27 weeks of top thoroughbred and standardbred racing, beginning with the Marine Stakes from Woodbine, Saturday, May 12th. Follow the races on Sports Weekend this summer.
Canadians get the draw on the face-off. Lafleur against Rattel. Rattel centered it. Lemaire ahead to Mondeau. Lafleur moving up on the left side. Now Mondeau has to go back. Drops it to Lupien. Lupien snapped the shot off the glass, and it's over the glass.
One thing here, gentlemen, I noticed that the Bruins use Park a lot to pinch in, working him into the offense. And you remember that the Canadians took advantage of this at one time and broke away in a 3-on-1 break. So when Park moves in, it's very important that one of their forwards hang back for him. You know, if you give Montreal too many of those chances, watch out.
Milbury. Mott clearing it in on it for Montreal is Savard on the left side. Here's Lafleur on the wing. He's over the line. Lafleur is bumped and knocked off stride by Marcotte. Now Lupien back in his own zone. Mott goes after Lupien. And what a height differential there. It rolls into Dryden. He covers up.
2:36 left in this first period. The Bruins leading 1-0. Let's go down now and join Dave Hodge.
In the first intermission, I'll be talking to Jerry Cheevers, who will be joining me from an unfamiliar position, that of bench sitter in this third game of the semifinal series. Also, Dick Irvin talks with Doug Jarvis about faceoffs.
And talking about Jarvis and his dissertation on face-offs. We have a face-off coming here. But Riseborough's on for Montreal. It's to the right of Dryden. McNabb for Boston. Now Tremblay ahead. Lambert couldn't get anywhere against Milbury. Milbury on the right side. The score is 1-0. And it's offside. The Bruins are leading. 2:24 left.
I don't think Gary ever answered your question, Danny.
No,
Should LaRouche have gone in a little closer?
Well, I think once a player makes up his mind, and you know, if LaRouche would have gone in a closer, he wouldn't have had the angle that he had. I think that if he would have hit the net there, he would have scored. But the closer you get, especially from where he was coming from, it would have cut down his angle.
Okay, Pierre. You did the right thing. Now it's Park behind the net. He lobbed one on the left side. Milbury along with McNabb over. Goes to Winsick. Back the shot. By Milbury is wide. They center it right in front and it's knocked back in the wing. Here's O'Reilly to McNabb. A bouncing puck and Dryden is under the net. It clears the Risebrough with Tremblay and Lambert. They're in over the line. Now a shot stopped off the stick of Risebrough. Langley takes over at center and gives it to Engblom. Lambert has to go off his stick. Here's Risebrough cutting in. Over to Tremblay. Back to Risebrough. And he couldn't pick it up on the short side. But I think he may have been in too deeply in any case. But a big opportunity for the Canadians. An opportunity on which they did not come out with any dividends. Now the Bruins coming back. Here's McNabb shooting it to the short side. McNabb is around the net. Trying to center it. Langley takes them in on the board. Now the Canadians breaking out, led by Tremblay. He has Gainey and Tremblay, a weak shot. Gainey goes in, and he shot it around the net. The teams are changing while the play goes on. They jam in on the board. The Bruins are starting out. Winsick on the left side. Gainey is checked by Rattel. Now we have less than a minute to go in the opening period. Here's Redmond. He has a good shot. There it is. But Dryden had it taped all the way. Gainey clearing it into the center ice area. Marcotte digging to the left wing. In it goes, and that's an offside.
Boy, you want to second guess Mario Tremblay up there. He had the 2-on-1 with Risebrough. It looked like Tremblay was just in that super position in the slot, Gary, to let it go, and he elected to pass it back again.
You can't ask for a better scoring position. Right in that area where you want to shoot the puck for, and just goes to show you, anytime you try that extra play, that extra pass, there's always that chance of, you know, that stray pass, and that happened there. Boy, if you're there, let him go, especially Tremblay. He shoots the puck pretty good.
41 seconds left. It is the first period. And Boston on a goal by Jonathan leading 1-0. Dryden away out of his net. Connor tied up his man Rattel. Short throw over to Gainey at the Boston line. Now Robinson takes over. Connor is away over on the far wing. Now Connor is dashing into the corner against Redmond. They body each other. Connor was knocked down by Redmond. And Redmond got an appreciative response from this huge Boston crowd. Now Schwartz turning in the center ice area. Ahead to Marcotte. Gobbled up by Robinson. And there's the end of the first period. And the Bruins and their fans are happy. Boston leading 1-0.
And there is Gilles Gilbert in the barrel tonight in place of Jerry Cheevers, and so far he's blanked the Canadians with the Bruins into the 1-goal lead. And so the score at the end of the first period: the Boston Bruins 1, the Montreal Canadiens 0.
What's it take to brew a great light beer? One yet?
When I was growing up in this country, owning a home was taken pretty much for granted. For many today, it's a dream. The people at Scotiabank believe in dreams. Dreams and hard-working people. If you've got a new home in your future, see the people at Scotiabank. When it comes to your dream, they've got everything you need.
The only goal of the first period by the Boston Bruins, and it was scored by Stan Jonathan. The Bruins outshot the Canadians 10-6 despite some heavy hitting. There was not a penalty call. Jonathan, plagued by injuries all season, had only 6 goals in the regular season, and this is his first goal of the playoffs, assisted by Brad Park and Dwight Foster at 12-19. And speaking of injuries, as we were concerning Jonathan, those who are playing and those who are not playing form a pretty big part of the pregame story tonight. Guy Lapointe is not, Wayne Cashman is, Jerry Cheevers is not. And the question, Jerry, is could you have played if Don Cherry had decided to use you?
Oh, yeah, I feel 100%. It's not a question of me being hurt or not. It was just the fact that after losing the 2 games in Montreal, I guess Don thought it was best to change, and I agree 100% and get some new blood in there. And Jilly's sure proven, and he made some big saves at the start of the period that kept us going.
A real big one on Doug Risebrough, among others. Is the knee bothering you? Can I put it that way?
It's chronic. It aches sometimes, but it isn't anything that would stop me from playing. It's not that severe, but I'm happy for a game off, and I hope we can get it together and win a few games. I'd certainly take the rest and everything like that, but it's not a question of that. It's just a question of the fact that Don decided to change goaltenders, and we talked it over, and I agreed 100%. I think it was a good idea.
Mobility is a big part of your game. Might the soreness of the knee cut down on that aspect of your play?
It does sometimes, but at this time it really does, and I can't fault any goals that have gone in me lately that I thought that if I had healthy knees that I'd be able to get to. It's I just don't fault my knees for anything like that.
Now, you talked with Don Cherry before the game. How about with Gilbert? Can you be of any help to him, having played the first 2 games of the series and perhaps knowing the Montreal shooters better?
Yeah, but Jilly's been around for a while. It's not like he's a raw rookie or anything like that. My only worry with Jilly is that I had, get him ready for the game. He hadn't played in a couple weeks, and just make sure he was doing the fundamentals properly, like coming out and standing up, and just making sure they didn't get a goal that he has by being rusty or not being aware of what's happening.
Pretty early in that period, he had a race for the puck and won it against Jacques Lemaire, I believe it was, of the Canadians. Now, you talk about being rusty. Is that something that might bother you after a layoff, the decision-making process, or whether to go or whether not to go?
Yeah, I think in that particular case, Jilly looked like he wanted to go for it, then he hesitated, then he went for it, and it's probably closer than it should have been. With the goaltender, when you come up for a puck like that, you either have to make up your mind right away to do it or not do it. And Jilly hesitated a little bit, but fortunately, Jilly's very quick, and he's got great reflexes, and he got there before Lemaire.
We're glad for our stay this week in Boston, especially with the weather so nice, and I was asked if I was going to go to Suffolk Downs tomorrow, and I said not unless I get a good tip from Jerry Cheevers. So am I going or not?
Well, it's an enjoyable day there. The racing has really improved at Suffolk Downs. The purses are terrific, and I can't see any reason why you shouldn't go.
Except that I don't have the tip yet, but I may go anyway. The weather might be the deciding factor. Jerry, thank you very much. The Bruins won, and the Montreal Canadiens nothing at the end of a period, and our Stanley Cup playoff coverage will continue in a moment.
Providing their share of the family income makes a lot of sense to a lot of women these days. And so does buying life insurance. Think about your future and talk it over with a Mutual Life of Canada agent.
In celebration of Ford of Canada's 75th anniversary, your Ford and Mercury dealers present Beautiful Value Days. We're celebrating with the luxurious Diamond Jubilee cars, Ford LTD, and Mercury Marquis. And there's more during Beautiful Value Days. 50% off beautiful styling option packages on Ford, Futura, Granada, Fairmont, Mercury, Zephyr, Monarch, and Z7. Beautiful values today. Details at Ford and Mercury dealers.
Any car wax gives a good shine, but it's the extras in Turtle Extra that make it the longest-lasting car wax we've ever made. Extra polymers and amino-functional silicones to bounce back the sun. Extra waxes to protect against dirt and mud. These extra ingredients make Turtle Extra the longest-lasting car wax we've ever made. You get a shine that lasts and lasts and lasts. Turtle Extra, liquid or new soft paste.
Bruins of the only goal by Stan Jonathan. Jules Gilbert shutting out the Canadians thus far. This is big business, what we're watching, the Stanley Cup playoffs, but hockey players young and old have experienced moments such as the ones we're about to see. They are cherished memories. Yes, someday maybe the Stanley Cup. In a moment, Dick Irvin and Doug Jarvis will get together to talk about a very important part of all hockey, and certainly in these Stanley Cup playoffs, as we saw in the first period, face-offs. We'll return to the Stanley Cup playoffs in just a moment.
In 1929, this Niagara generating station was the largest in the world. Generators built in Peterborough by Canadian General Electric and turbines built in Montreal by Dominion Engineering, a CGE company, were part of it. Today's Grand Coulee project in Washington State uses turbines engineered by Dominion and the world's most powerful hydro generators built in Canada by CGE. Progress for people from Canadian General Electric.
Right now, you can get special option packages on Ford Explorer pickups. Explorer pickups come with special paint, tape stripes, and interiors, special wheel covers, and more at special prices. Take options like a box cover, power steering, Cruise-O-Matic, and air conditioning. The value adds up as you add on. See your Ford or Mercury dealer now for Explorer pickups. Ford, the best-selling name in pickups.
What's it take to brew a great light beer?
They got a goal after winning a face-off. Dwight Foster did that, got it back to Brad Park. His shot was stopped by Dryden, and Stan Jonathan put in the rebound. Canadians face-off artist Doug Jarvis talks with Dick Irvin, and they talk about just what it takes to be a successful face-off man.
Doug Jarvis of the Canadians here to talk face-offs, but before we get into that, I would like to ask Doug how you felt Game 1 against the Leafs, your first miss in 4 years because you had that knee injury. I know you stayed home watching the game on TV. How did it feel?
Well, I was very disappointed in the first place to miss the game. I don't think any athlete likes to sit home and watch the game on TV. I was very nervous. I think just as nervous as if I had been playing that game that night.
Well, it was a great stretch, and it was too bad it had to come to an end. Dougie, on the face-off, is there any one particular person on the Boston Bruins who gives you more trouble?
Well, I think both John Rattel and Peter McNabb are very good on the draws. I think their strength lies in the fact that they're both strong men, and they can get in there and use their strength to their advantage.
All right, now that brings up, obviously, they're much bigger than you are. Size has to be a factor then in face-off play.
It can be, I think. I think a lot of things go into it: size, strength, quickness, whatever. Different players use different techniques. Some players will just try and win the face-off on reflex action. Some players will use their strength and try and bull the puck away from you. Some players will play the stick and then try and win, then draw the puck back. Different players have different techniques.
All right, the linesman has the puck. It's in his hand. What's the concentration factor for a centerman?
Well, I think the puck, of course, is where your concentration lies. You go into the face-off, though, and, you have an idea of what the other centerman's trying to do just by the way he's positioned and where his stick is. Then you concentrate on that puck, and hopefully when it's dropped, you'll be able to win it.
What about the Canadians' plan, if you will? I'm sure there is a plan. Defensive zone, offensive zone. How do you work it basically?
As far as the face-off itself? Yeah. I think in the defensive zone, the thing is you have, 5 men sort of on your side of the ice. You mostly want to get that puck back, get things set up, and then get it out. In the offensive zone, you're gambling for the shot. You want to try and get a good shot on net, and so you position your players in such a way that if you do win the draw cleanly, you're going to get the good shot.
Some players, Jacques Lemaire, I think I've heard, like to try to get a shot away sometimes from a face-off. That's strictly a surprise element, is it not?
It usually is, yes, because, the way the other team's lined up, the fact that you'll get the puck cleanly, you don't usually get a real good shot on a face-off directly.
Dougie, thank you very much. Continue good luck in the playoffs.
Okay, thanks.
Doug Jarvis of the Montreal Canadiens, live from the Boston Garden, the Stanley Cup playoffs.
If your engine isn't starting on cue, put in a fresh set of Champion spark plugs at least once a year. Champion in your engine can make beautiful music together. Get started with Champion.
In the last 10 years, a lot of Canadians have been blamed for the failures of the Trudeau government. Farmers have been called professional complainers. University students have been told to look for jobs in other countries. Provinces are called greedy and selfish. And the rest of us are dismissed as soft and lazy. 4 more years of blocking shots from the Trudeau government is not much to look forward to. On May 22nd, vote Progressive Conservative. Give the future a chance.
There may be a few Montreal fans scattered through the Boston Garden tonight, but not too many. The majority of people very happy with the score. 1-0, the Bruins lead on Stan Jonathan's goal. And Gary Dornhofer, I think, along with it, the fans who paid the money saw a pretty good period of hockey.
Excellent period of hockey. Good forechecking, good hitting, good goaltending by both teams.
The goaltending, very key, as you mentioned, as the period ended. The Gilbert save on Reichbrow could be a very, very big thing in this game.
Well, if you want to inspire your fellow teammates, especially from a goaltender standpoint, you come up with a save something like this. Here, Reichbrow, clean-cut breakaway, going in all alone. And if he was trying to shoot all the way, Gilbert gets his pad on it, makes the key save, and right away the enthusiasm goes right down the bench. Hey, look at this guy, he's playing for us. Let's get our act together and get things going.
The one thing the Canadians were guilty of, I felt that first period, a bit of a lack of finish inside the Boston line when they had some chances. The goal, there's a lot of good things to talk about with the Bruins. The goal, and I know you spotted a play by a fellow who wasn't even in the scoring play. Wayne Cashman had a lot to do with it, perhaps.
Well, certainly. On the face-off, Cashman, who is out of the play, now freeze it right now. You'll see how Cashman keeps that man from heading to the point. That gives Park a clear shot at the net. Now he'll unload it. Dryden will come up with a save. And then it'll lay there. Now you'll see, stop it again. Now you see Jonathan getting himself into position. Now I thought at that point, probably that defenseman in front of Dryden could have moved out at him, but he doesn't. Allows Jonathan to pick up the puck. Actually, Dryden may have been screened by the falling defenseman up over the shoulder, give the Bruins that 1-0 lead. But it took 3 or 4 men to make that play possible.
I'll tell you one thing, that's the only play Jonathan could have put it. Looking at that picture with the angle we had there right up in that top corner, and he did it. Okay, the Bruins leading by 1. We are just about set to start the second period here at the Boston Garden, so over now to Danny Gallivan.
And okay, Dick, a minute away from hockey, we have received word that the Expos defeated L.A. this afternoon 7-3, defending the outcome of the game between Philadelphia and San Francisco. They are in first place. There's Jonathan with his goal. Park and Foster getting the assist. Warren Cromartie got a hit today, number 19, club record, and he's a hockey fan, Dick. He was at the first game between the Bruins and the Canadiens. So, okay, back to action here at the Boston Garden. And it is Park. Over to Redmond. Redmond clearing it in. He took a jolt from Risebrough. Robinson behind the net, 1-0 the score. The Bruins in front, and now Wenson clearing it in for Rattel. Robinson watching him, and he is helped by Savard. Here is Savard getting it to the line, not out. Redmond is going in. Apparently it came out.
In the games in Montreal, Dick Redmond was used by Don Cherry basically in specialty roles, either killing penalties or on the power play. But tonight, from the early going, not right at the start of the game, he seems to have been used basically as a regular. There wasn't any penalties in that first period, taking over from Al Sims by the look of it in the Boston scheme of things on defense.
Also, the face-off outside the Canadiens line. Rattel, Smots, and Wensig. Here is Smots running into Robinson for the Canadiens. We have Gainey, Jarvis, and Connor. Now Park keeping it in. He works it in on the right side. Here's Brad Park. Park around the net. It's knocked away from him by Jarvis. Connor clearing it on the left side. Is down into Boston territory. Redmond touches it, and it is icing against the Canadiens.
You know, a lot of teams find it very difficult to come in here. The way the stadium is built, the fans, they seem to be sitting right on your lap, and you get that very uncomfortable feeling that you're playing against more than 5 Bruins on the ice. You seem to have about 15,000 people sitting right in front of you.
Gary, I want you to notice this is the only broadcast location in the NHL where the announcers might get a puck directed their way. Mr. Galvin and I are hoping you are in good catching form because we look to you for protection.
No, I'll take it because I have a request to get a puck for a youngster. After you catch it, you can give it to me. Now, Gainey down on the left side. The pass off Jarvis, the stick. Connor is going in after Jonathan Robinson, shooting it right on, and Gilbert had to have that excellent reflex action in top form on that. Now the Bruins at their own line. Foster rolls it delicately down on the left side. Robinson is back there for the Canadiens. Robinson, a good move to get away from Foster, hands it off to Jarvis. He tried to headman it to Connor, and Smith cleared it back. Robinson ahead to Gainey and Rick Smith. He's played solid hockey in the series. Ahead to Jonathan. Over it goes offside to Foster.
That shot by Robinson was a good one. The Bruins have been cutting off the Canadiens' point men. That's the first shot by a Montreal defenseman other than Brian Engblom in this series. He was the only man on the Montreal defense to get a shot on goal in the first 2 games. Well, we'll be at it again here at the Boston Garden on Thursday night, Game 4 of this series, and again we'll be on the air with a 7:30 Eastern Time beginning.
Face-off outside the Montreal line. Lemaire is on with Mondeau and Lafleur. Engblom, a long pass, gobbled up by Middleton. He, in turn, after falling, lost it to Langway. Now Redmond. Lafleur is after him. Redmond coming out on the left side. He missed Miller with it. Langway clearing it back, 1-0 for the Boston Bruins. Now Park at close quarters, laying it into Canadian territory. Engblom is back for it. Engblom gets it to the line. Redmond shooting it right on. No difficulty on that one for Dryden. And now Canadians at center. Mondeau on the right side. Couldn't get by Redmond. Lafleur over to Engblom. There's the shot. And the rebound to Brad Park. Circling in there, Lemaire, Lafleur, and Mondeau. 2 minutes and 13 seconds have gone by in the second period. Now it rolls down the ice, and that is the signal for Coach Cherry to make changes. He has Milbury and Smith on the bench. A penalty coming up. Penalty against the Montreal Canadiens, and it is Langway, number 17.
From the Boston Garden, this is Stanley Cup 79.
Now, from Braun into the domain of the rotary shaver comes the new Braun Micron. Look, this is the shaving area of the rotary head. The Braun Micron foil is 30% thinner for a closer, cleaner shave. The thinner the foil, the closer Braun shaves. Our design is to shave you closer than the rotary. The new Braun Micron.
First penalty of the hockey game at 2:36, Rod Langway for cross-checking. Interestingly enough, the player he cross-checked was Bob Miller, number 14 of the Bruins. 2 years ago, they were teammates playing with the University of New Hampshire. Just before that play, Miller had really corked Langway a good body check.
So there will be relentless pressure now by the Bruins with the odd man advantage. Let us see how Montreal defends. Redmond is forced out over the line. Now here's Gainey coming down on that left side. He elects to kill off seconds, playing it back to Robinson. Over to Jarvis. Canadians with that defensive pattern going. Here's Captain Savard on the right wing, and he rolls it into Boston territory. Exactly 3 minutes have gone by in the second period. Redmond coming out with Rattel, O'Reilly, Park, and Middleton. Park has it. Ahead to Rattel off his stick. Robinson cleared it off the glass, and it's just to the right of the Bruins players' bench.
Well, there's Terry O'Reilly, topped the Bruins this year in penalty minutes with 205. Told me in an interview the other night, Gary, in the Saturday night game, he was down about 7 minutes from the year before, so he thinks he's reforming.
Well, I'll tell you what a competitor he is. When he first broke in, a lot of people laughed at him, but he turned himself into a real good hockey player with a lot of hard work.
Now the Canadians getting it. Robinson failed to clear it out. Redmond rolls it back. O'Reilly is cruising against Dryden. It goes to the other corner. Rattel bumping with Robinson. O'Reilly goes in there to bump Robinson. Now it's Jarvis ahead to Gainey. Gainey over the line. Gainey turning on the board. Still with it. Great work by Gainey. Back to Tremblay. To Robinson. 52 seconds left in the penalty. And we talked about Bruins' relentless pressure on the power play. So far, they have been rather anemic, and that is attributable to the outstanding defensive work by the Canadians. Now let's see how the Bruins do here. McNabb ahead to middle, and he rolls it in. Robinson trying to get it. Dryden. Risebrough couldn't clear it out. Park to McNabb. He's bumped. They jam in on the board. Robinson couldn't clear it out. He and Park brawl, and now it's Savard. Savard coming down on the line. Savard back into the center ice area. Montreal doing a magnificent job of killing off this penalty. Now Risebrough at the line, lost it to Park. Park is coming in. Park into the corner, played it around the net. Cashman, the penalty has expired. Langway is out of the penalty box. Bruins keeping it in. Here's Brad Park shooting it, and Dryden kicks it off to the left side. Risebrough. The Bruins' best scoring opportunity was that long shot by Park after Langway had come back on. There's one lobbed against the glass by Langway. Canadians making changes. Mott, he has his pass knocked down. It's recovered by Milbury. He rolled it in on the right side, and now the Bruins are making changes while the play goes on. Here's Lafleur into the center ice area. Over to Lemaire. Lemaire chasing it along the boards. Milbury rolled it out over the line. It is Boston 1, Montreal no score. In goes Foster to pick it up. 5 minutes, 35 seconds have gone by in the second period. Now Lupien getting it over to Chartrand. Chartrand's pass off a stick. Into the corner, Lemaire against Milbury, and it is icing against the Canadiens.
The Bruins lead 1-0. This is Stanley Cup 79 from the Boston Garden.
Ford Fairmont has a good sense of values. There's value here with standard features like rack and pinion steering, front disc brakes, and a new suspension system. Value here with room for 5 adults and their luggage, plus excellent fuel economy. Ford Fairmont's got it all. No wonder it was North America's most successful new car ever introduced. The economical Ford Fairmont, sedan, wagon, or elegant Futura. Ford Fairmont at your Ford dealer now.
So there you see the time remaining, and you get a look at Don Cherry. He's known as Grapes in this area, as Dick, I think, already mentioned. He has a dog called Blue. Gets as much publicity here as the coach. He was featured in the newspaper story. He was on TV the other night. I don't think he's looking for the contract, though. Now it is Marcotte shooting it in. Now Chartrand. He lost it, goes after it on the left side. Rick Smith over on the other side. Foster, and a great defensive play by Lemaire. Foster was ready to scoot in, unmolested on the right side, and Lemaire made an excellent defensive play. Now Milbury. Over it goes to Rick Smith. There is Middleton, clearing it into the centerized area. Lafleur. Over it goes to Lambert, and that is offside.
Danny, you made reference to Don Cherry and his contract problems with the Bruin management when the Canadiens were here for their final preseason game on the 1st of this month. 1st of last month now, this is May. There was a sign up here in the Boston Garden saying, "Come on, Harry, sign him up. We need Grapes to win the cup."
He's very popular with the players and with the fans, but there is an obstacle financially, I think, a big one between Sinden and Cherry. Here's Wensick over the line, a shot right on. Wensick was leveled and knocked to the ice by Hughes. Here's the lead pass for LaRouche. Gilbert clearing it on the board. Here's Connor getting it back. Engblom back to Connor. It's off his leg, and the Bruins start out on the right side. O'Reilly. Connor is knocked down. In it goes to Wensick. There's the shot. And Dryden had to dart out with that right leg very, very quickly. Now McNabb was upended by Connor. And in the corner, Langway, O'Reilly, Engblom, and Wensick, LaRouche, Redmond, and now Park.
Well, you got players out there, Gary, for the Canadiens like Cam Connor, Pat Hughes, Rod Langway. They haven't played very much this series to any great degree, but boy, Hughes leveled Wensick with quite a check there just a moment ago. 1-0, the Bruins in the lead. This is Stanley Cup 79 from the Boston Garden.
There's only one.
Hey, where are you going?
We're going to get some beer.
Well, we've got some in the fridge.
But your dad's coming. I want to get some Brador.
There's only one.
Hey, Brador, what's the occasion? Have a seat. Occasion? Gary brought back my snowblower.
There's only one.
Hey, Craig, I got those playoff tickets. That costs for a Brador.
There's only one Brador.
Well, there you see it, 12:55 left in the second period. Stan Jonathan's first period goal standing up for the Bruins as they lead Montreal 1-0.
I think this definitely so far has been the most exciting bit of action in the series. More exciting than anything. There's a shot by Middleton. He went for that high side. Didn't miss by much. Now Park around the net. In on the boards against Hughes. Connor is out there, too, along with LaRouche. Into the corner, Redmond. Redmond is bumped by Hughes. Here's LaRouche working from the corner. LaRouche centered it, and it's gobbled up by Brad Park. He leads the Bruins out on the right side. O'Reilly is over the line. Here's O'Reilly going in on goal. He flipped it. He was in too far, and it went behind the net. Middleton taking it on the boards vigorously by Engel. O'Reilly, what you done? A scramble, and is kept out by Dryden. Great scoring opportunity for Boston. Redmond upended. Hughes. Now they're making changes. Here's O'Reilly again. He's in over the line. O'Reilly is tripped. Canadians starting back on the right side, Lafleur. Here's Lafleur getting set. Back it goes. Langley shooting it. And it rolls by the corner. A centering pass grabbed off by Smith. Over to O'Reilly with McNabb. They're across the line. Following in is Middleton, but Savard comes up with it. Great work by O'Reilly. Langley into the center ice area, hitting the Boston line. Langley back to Gainey. There's the shot, the rebound, and Gilbert holds on.
And the action continues here at Boston. We have not heard anything from New York, where the Islanders and the Rangers are playing. Our last report, first period, no score.
You know, the Boston Bruins, their defense, are just doing an excellent job of getting a hold of that puck as soon as it's shot in, not allowing Montreal to have that concentrated attack going. And that's why they're in this hockey game. You know, Montreal, they get maybe one shot, Bruins take over, and away they go.
Montreal, everybody up for the face-off, 1-0 for the Bruins. Lupien got it in there. He hit the linesman. Now it's down into Canadian territory. Dryden swept it around to the other side to Tremblay. Tremblay tried to hit Lambert. Miller out it goes to Cashman. He swung away from Risebrough. Gives it to Jonathan. Ahead to Miller. Miller tripped over the blue line. Now it's knocked down by Rick Smith. They scored, but the whistle had gone. The whistle had gone. Jonathan trying to get at Tremblay.
No doubt the whistle had gone. The fans are cheering, but there will be no goal on the play. And as the aftermath, Mario Tremblay and Rick Smith, who shot the puck from the right point, had a bit of a set to. And it looks like they are heading to the penalty box, so instead of a statistical note that the Bruins had scored, the only note will be penalty. Tremblay and I guess it's going to be Smith. Jonathan got in on the act, too. Have to wait.
Well, you know, from a player standpoint, it's very difficult to stop your shot when you're on your way down, you know, making contact, and that's what Tremblay is objecting to.
So we have penalties to both teams. What's the score? The Bruins 1, the Canadians nothing. This is Stanley Cup 79.
Welcome to our people-pleasing places. Mr. Carlin, your briefcase. Our people-pleasing places.
Holiday Inn hotels are #1 in the world with the best standards.
Everything all right, sir? Everything's just fine.
People-pleasing standards to help make your trip successful.
Wherever you go in this whole big traveling world.
We want to make you comfortable.
Holiday Inn is #1 in people pleasing.
And Smith for roughing at 9:06.
So Tremblay and Smith, there you see them in the penalty box. They are off together for roughing at 9:06 in this second period of Game 3 of the Stanley Cup semifinal.
You should mention that's the split screen. They're not seated next to each other.
Side by each.
Well, after that little set, too, with Rick Smith and Tremblay, Jonathan tried to get at Tremblay, but no outbreak, no major penalties yet. Now Robinson. Into the corner it goes. Brad Park takes his man, Lemaire, into the boards very heavily. Here is Redmond. Redmond tried to hit Rattel. Robinson back at his own line, gets it to center, it's offside.
Now, Gary, you mentioned just a few moments ago how the Bruins were keeping the Canadians contained. No sustained offense by Montreal, but I'm sure they are well aware that you can't just relax in a situation like that, because that's exactly what was happening up to the 15-minute mark or so, whatever it was, of the game in Montreal on Saturday, and before the period was over, it was 3-2 Montreal.
Well, absolutely. That's the big question. Can the Bruins keep going, you know, for 60 minutes?
1-0 Boston in front. There is Redmond. He and Lemaire going into the corner. It's wrapped around the net to Brad Park. Park picks it up. He's going to lug it out himself. Park goes to the far side back. He'll get it up on the wing to Rattel. Here's Rattel. On the left side to Redmond. Redmond making that move, and Lafleur knocked it to the wing. Canadian Lemaire clearing it out, and it's picked up by Redmond. Here's Redmond coming in. Redmond getting set. He fired it. He was falling. He didn't get much on that shot. Lafleur bursts down the ice. He's in over the line. That's a pass. Marquardt cleared it out over the line. Redmond and Chartrand went to the ice heavily inside the Bruins blue line. 1-0 the score. Boston in front in the penalties. 38 seconds left. Lafleur getting it back to Robinson with Mondeau to the Boston line. Over to Mondeau. Mondeau into the corner, back to the line. No one there to get it. And the Canadians have to regroup to get onside. Now Gainey bursts in on that left side. Here's Gainey around the net. Gainey on the board. Getting it back. Savard shoots it. It's blocked. Now at the line is Miller. Miller coming down. There's a shot. That seemed to give Dryden some trouble. I think it dipped a bit. The penalized players are getting ready to come back on. Milbury cleared it. It finally goes to Sims. Now Trombley and Rick Smith are back on the ice. Gainey over to Savard to Robinson. Robinson up. Hits the Boston line. Robinson losing it. It's picked up along the boards. Trombley to Mondeau right in front of the net. And it's cleared away. Sims to Miller to Schmott. Schmott ran into Robinson. There's a shot. It's off a leg. Miller and Lambert. Puck comes out over the line. Backboard Sims. He cleared it on the far wing. Miller shot it ahead, and he hit Bayshore, and the puck went to the Bruins bench.
Gary, we are seeing an excellent hockey game tonight. Back and forth, 1-0 Bruins leading, 8:18 left in the second period. The Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Boston Garden.
Ryder rents trucks, all kinds of trucks. And Ryder does everything possible to make sure the wipers work, the headlights work, the brakes and steering and transmissions have been checked out. So practically nothing can stop a Ryder truck. Because when you rent trucks, you don't want them to give you problems. You want them to solve your problems. Ryder, the best truck money can rent.
Dick Redmond on the Boston bench. Just a moment ago, Gary, he was shaken up on that collision at the Canadiens line. He seems to be okay. We're in the second period.
And I think he's playing rather well tonight, Redmond. Seeing a lot of service. Number 6. He's on the bench at the present time. The Bruins clearing it in. It's over the glass.
We're going to take a look right here at the Redmond situation where he ends up taking quite a header. Marcotte falls. Watch Redmond come into the picture, I think, right here.
Well, that's what you call getting involved. And, you know, when you give somebody a real good check, all right, the person that receives it will be very aware the next time you're out on the ice or the next time he carries the puck. And if you can slow him down just one stride, it certainly will be to your benefit.
Now it's Sims from the right side, shooting it in. Middleton going in along with O'Reilly. There's McNabb after his man Trombley. Trombley prevails, gets it ahead to Lambert. He dropped it. And turning is O'Reilly. With McNabb and Milbury, they're over the line. O'Reilly giving it to Sims. Here's Sims on the backhand. And it goes around the net. Savard lugging it out for Montreal. He almost lost it to Middleton. Middleton on a second effort to McNabb. McNabb centering it. There's O'Reilly in on the board. O'Reilly twisting and turning against Savard. Great work by O'Reilly. Here's O'Reilly getting it back to Milbury. A weak shot and a stop by Savard. Savard out to Risebrough. He flipped it in there. Here's Lambert going right in a goal. A shot. Gilbert picks up with an enormous save. Now into the center ice area. What an opportunity for Lambert, and Gilbert coming out. Took him as he came in on the short side. The shot by Hughes. Gilbert had to be very sharp on that. Here's Cashman. Cashman at the line on the right side. He gives it to Sims. He shoots it in. 1-0 Boston in front. Dryden falls at the side of the net. Cashman bumps Hughes. Now Robinson gets it out to Hughes. Left wing pass. Connor going in against Brad Parker. Makes a fine move. Ahead to Cashman down to the Canadiens line. It's dropped. Over on the other side. Here is Chartrand working up on the right side. Chartrand over the line. He went for the far side. And he had plenty on that shot. But it was a fairly sharp angle, but he didn't miss by very much. Now the Canadians. Here is Connor coming back on the right side. LaRouche. LaRouche flipping it. And it's over the glass.
Well, so far, Don Cherry looks pretty good with his pinch hitter in the net, Gary. Gilbert, 2 big saves. Here's the one, I think, on Lambert, got in alone.
You know, Lambert had Gilbert just beat. You know, he thought he was going the other way. And suddenly those pads come out. And, you know, when you talk about goaltending and those big saves, there's a good example.
Right after that, I think it was Pat Hughes who let the shot go. He really drilled it. And there is Jerry Cheevers, no doubt very much pleased with what he has just seen from his opposite number. Gilbert's got the stars on the mask, not stitches.
I was just going to mention the crowd, 16,654. That is capacity here at the Garden. And numbered among that big crowd, those 2 great ambassadors of hockey. Even when their team is knocked out, they continue to follow the different series. Harold Ballard and King Clancy just above us, enjoying every moment of it.
This coming Saturday Sports Weekend brings you Major League Baseball, a game between the Toronto Blue Jays and the Milwaukee Brewers from Milwaukee's County Stadium. Sports Weekend with Ernie Afghans this Saturday on CBC television.
The Bruins won, the Canadians no score, exactly 6 minutes left. This is the second period. Gainey bumping Rattel. The Bruins got it into the center ice area. There is Charta. He shot it in. Here's Gainey going after it, trying to get it back to the point. He does to Robinson. Robinson fed it in front. Lafleur couldn't catch up. Lafleur knocked Marcotte down. There's a shot blocked by Milbury from Chartrand. Marcotte comes to center. Pass goes off for a tail stick into the corner. Robinson shooting it ahead and down the ice. There'll be no icing on that. Could have been played. In any case, it did not have the momentum to go over the goal line. Now Rattel. Shooting it in off the leg of Chartrand. Now Marcotte weaving his way to the corner. He centered it in front. Canadians coming out. Gainey ahead to Robinson. Stopped by Smart. Smart over the line, and in there was Rattel off top.
Yeah, Chartrand did a pretty good check on Rattel. The fans didn't like it. The Bruins leading 1-0 live from the Boston Garden, the Stanley Cup playoff.
You know, Mother's Day is coming up soon. I always like to do something special for my mom, like giving her a Lotto Canada pouch. Between March the 31st and June the 3rd, Lotto Canada offers 14 $1 million prizes, 21,000 special bonus prizes, thousands and thousands of other cash prizes, and this one pouch is good for 2 draws. Gives her better than a 1 in 3 chance to win something. So give your mom a Lotto Canada pouch for Mother's Day. You might just make her a millionaire.
Well, Scotty Bowman in his 142nd Stanley Cup game, Don Cherry in his 51st.
And what a magnificent record Bowman has fashioned over the years as a coach. As we mentioned the other night, trying to lead his team as the coach to their 4th consecutive Stanley Cup. It's the semifinal series into the 3rd game. Canadians leading 2-0. The Bruins leading in this game 1-0. Here's Middleton. Right in front. They got away on it. And it's held out by Dryden.
Canadians got a break from a quick whistle right there. The puck was not frozen on the play, although obviously out of the referee's sight. And another frustrating moment for Mr. Cherry. We'll take a look at it here from back of the net. And the key here is the puck covered up by Montreal? Van Hellemond said yes, he blew the whistle. It'll squirt loose here somewhere.
It does come out.
There it is.
Van Hellemond, he was in the wrong position to really see where the puck was loose. But a great job by O'Reilly there. He's playing another outstanding game. Good forechecking.
Now McNabb against Jarvis. Trombley ahead on the left side to Lambert. Lambert coming down. Sims got over there, got a stick in front of it. And another souvenir for somebody down in that area behind. Gilbert was turning in a fine game for the Bruins. Bruins leading 1-0.
Latest word from New York. Late in the first period, scoreless, the Rangers and the Islanders. It is. That's a key game in that series tonight, gentlemen, with it 1-1. Rangers with the advantage at home.
Canadians with the defense of Lupien and Savard. They're in over the line. There you see Jarvis against McNabb. O'Reilly was a bit fractious. He's talking to the referee, Van Helleman. But I would have to agree with Gary Dornoff with the defense of Lupien and Savard. They're in over the line. There you see Jarvis against McNabb. O'Reilly was a bit fractious. He's talking to the referee, Van Helleman. But I would have to agree with Gary Dornhofer. I think O'Reilly has probably been the outstanding man on the ice, the way he has worked. He's been a star in the entire series, number 24 for Boston. Now, Boston in possession, behind the net. It's lugged out on the left side. Milbury playing it ahead. Middleton over to O'Reilly. O'Reilly around the pass for McNabb. He couldn't get it. Lambert's pass is stopped. Sims clearing it up on the left side. Here's Middley. Here's Lambert getting a break going in. Closing in on him was Park and Sims. So Lambert wasn't able to turn on the Jets. There's a mix-up between Lambert and Park.
This is the 7th game this season, if you will, 4 regular season games, plus this the 3rd playoff game involving these teams. There has not been a penalty call other than a minor. This has to be some kind of a season record for the Canadians against the Bruins, and I don't think we're going to get any penalties right here. Lambert of Montreal, who's played a pretty strong game tonight, Gary, for the Canadians, and has been a big man for them offensively. He was involved with Marcotte, but no damage done and no penalties called. All right, let's head down to our studios for a moment and join Dave Hodge.
A reminder of what's coming up in the second intermission of the film profile of Peter McNabb, and we'll talk with Boston rookie Al Secord, who is not in uniform tonight, and we'll have Dick and Gary also with what they thought of the second period.
Now it is Rick Smith, long left wing pass. Dryden shooting it along the boards for Lafleur. Lafleur out on the left side. It goes. Risebrough can't get it. Digging back there, Rick Smith. And he chopped it over the corner glass. 3 minutes and 42 seconds left in this, the second period. The only goal by Jonathan.
It was Rick Smith, who was on the 70 Boston Cup-winning team, but not on the 72 team. He had been traded to the California Golden Seals, then played in the WHA, came back to Boston after a brief stint with the Blues in St. Louis.
There's a player in this series. He's been on 3 Stanley Cup teams, has never played a minute. Who is he? Now, there is Cashman.
I mean, in the playoffs, he's never played.
Cashman coming down, bumped by Chartraw. Chartraw fell. Robinson behind the net, up on the left side. It goes. Risebrough's pass hit Miller. Risebrough gets it back. He flicked it in over the line, and it's offside.
Gilbert gets a hand as he goes down. There's Wayne Cashman, the Boston captain, a very surprise starter tonight. One of the Boston papers today, its entire hockey story of this game was devoted to the fact that Cashman had gone to hospital, wouldn't play, and had all kinds of quotes from Bruin players saying what a difference it would make because he's not in the lineup for the second straight game. Well, there come out to warm up. And by golly, there's Wayne Cashman.
Did I hear you give the name of that player?
No, I just said that he hasn't played in a playoff game through the 3 Stanley Cup.
He hasn't played in the 3 years they've won the Stanley Cup, yet he's a member of the team.
Right.
There it goes. Into Lemaire. Gilbert shooting it along the board. Into the corner. That stick was over the shoulder. Lafleur was ready to cradle it and get it out front, but it was called for the infraction stick above the shoulder.
You know, it's interesting to note that Lafleur has not had a point on the road in the playoffs yet. The teams have really done a job on him. You know, first it was Boutet in the Toronto series, and now Marcotte here in the Boston series. Wherever Lafleur goes, he has a checker beside him.
Means he's had 13 points in the 4 games he's played at home.
The players, Bunny LaRock, has he ever played in the playoffs? I don't think.
Here, Dryden sat out, 74.
Into the corner behind the net. Milbury shooting it. Now Rattel. Rattel into the corner, twisting and turning. Rick Smith, he cleared it over the glass. But in 74, there seems to be a team out of Philadelphia that won the Stanley Cup that year. You remember that? Mr. Dornhofer?
Along the way, Bunny LaRock played in the 6 games the Canadians played that year. They were eliminated by the Rangers. who were then eliminated by the Flyers. And that wasn't easy that year, and the Rangers.
That was a 7-game series.
Right.
The 7th game was in Philadelphia. Some great hockey in that series.
Canadians, everybody up for the face-off. Brad Park around the net with 2 minutes and 35 seconds left. There's a left wing pass to Redmond up ahead for Marcotte. He lost it to Savard. Savard, his pass intercepted. Littell over to Schmutz, and he whips the shot off the glass along the dasher. Lafleur getting it to the point. Redmond shooting it back. Now it's Lupien. Brad Park clearing it back. Lupien at the line. Shoots it ahead. Lafleur picking it up. It went on a glove pass to Lafleur.
Now there's Lafleur. You mentioned his problems on the road, Gary. Of course, he's always a factor. He has not had a shot in tonight's game. The Bruin defense is doing an excellent job for the most part of standing up at the blue line, especially on the 3-on-2 breaks. They're playing it in old-time classic style. It's Scotty Bowman's record in the playoffs against the Bruins.
Not only that, though, when the Bruins are having plenty of time behind the net, the Canadians really aren't putting the pressure on. That allows the Bruins to come up the middle. Normally, their play is just fired around the boards. That's usually the only play that they use.
Rick Smith clearing it in. There's O'Reilly against Lambert. Lupien takes it, fails to clear it out. Jonathan to O'Reilly. Here's O'Reilly. Back it comes. Tremblay going after it, bumping with O'Reilly. They came together with quite a thud. Over on the board, Jonathan and Lupien started to mix it up. They're laying on the body again. It's solid form. There's a lead pass broken up by Rick Smith. He returned it. Savard on the right side. Savard cutting in on goal. Savard going in. And it's knocked off his stick. Savard ends up in behind Gilbert. Into the corner they go. McNabb around the net. He's up there. Lambert is going to get a penalty. Lambert is going off.
Second penalty called in the way of a power play type situation, and both of them have gone against the Canadians. This one to Yvon Lambert right here. Not much doubt, Gary.
Well, those are the kind that really hurt you. You know, it's in the defensive zone. There's a lot of men back for the Canadians, and you just can't afford to take that type of penalty. And it's very uncharacteristic of the Canadians because they normally play a very disciplined game. They don't give goals away. And, you know, this is a great opportunity for the Bruins to add another one to their total.
Lambert for hooking in 1856. I was just thinking as the play was going on, the Bruins have learned the lesson well about not, getting into silly penalties against Montreal. It cost them badly on Saturday night. They haven't even come close to it here tonight to any great degree. Now here's Lambert. And the Bruins get a chance with a man to the good.
Well, they're certainly going to have to do a lot better on this power play than they did in the last time. And, when the Canadians killing the penalty, when they get a hold of it, they're not in such a hurry to shoot it down the ice. They just hang on to it, rag it. When you have a guy like Gainey out there, why shoot it down? He can carry it all night.
Okay, the Bruins on the power play. Robinson, he lobs it through center. And now the clock indicating 56 seconds left in the second period. Boston ahead 1-0. They're on the power play. Here's the chief architect of the power play, Brad Park. Over it goes to Foster. Foster shooting it in. Into the corner, Marcotte. He tried to center it. It's behind the net. Mott getting it back to the point to Redmond. Redmond rolling it in. Robinson takes over for Montreal. Robinson coming down with Gainey. Gainey back to Robinson. Robinson is hit by Schmutz. Gainey clearing it back into his own zone to Savard. 20 seconds left in the period. And again, Montreal in the initial stages of this Boston power play. Montreal has killed it off well. Now it's Marcotte over on the other side to Schmutz. Schmutz having difficult time trying to pick it up. Rattel went in there. It's called on the offside.
Well, again, the Canadians, Gary, with an excellent setup, killing this penalty.
Once the Bruins do get the puck in the zone, it's very important that wherever that puck is, they outnumber the Canadians. In other words, if one defenseman has it, they have to have two men in there to try to get a hold of it and set up a play. And they're not doing that tonight.
There are just 3 seconds left till this period will end without any further damage. There's the end of the second period, and it is still The Bruins won and the Canadians nothing.
And the second period was scoreless. Dan Jonathan's first period goal still standing up. And so the score at the end of the second period, the Boston Bruins 1, the Montreal Canadiens nothing.
This is Varipel. With the exclusive Envirosol system, the exterior wood preservative that's so effective, you can think of it as wood insurance. Here's proof. We soak 2 pieces of wood in water for 24 hours. Then we bake them at 225 degrees for 1 hour. After all this, the wood treated with Varipel is still protected. That's wood insurance. That's the Envirosol system. Here's how it works. The Envirosol system opens up the cell walls of the wood fiber, allowing Varipel to penetrate deep into the wood. When it dries, the Varipel is embedded deep in the cell walls. This stabilizes the wood, preventing it from expanding or contracting, so it resists peeling, cracking, or blistering. And Varipel contains a fungicide to protect against mildew and dry rot. Protect your investment. Get Varipel and get yourself some wood insurance.
Flecto, when you want to do it right.
What's the great name in sports? For over 100 years, the name Spalding has been found wherever great athletes meet to test their skills. When you want sports equipment that lets you be your best, choose Spalding, the great name in sports.
The Bruins had a power play and a half in the second period. Did not add to their total, but still lead 1-0 in the first period goal by Stan Jonathan. Over 2 periods, Boston has outshot Montreal 18-10. Only 10 shots for the Canadiens in 2 periods, but they have had good chances among that total. Peter McNabb, Bruins centerman, is now profiled up close.
Out comes McNabb. McNabb trying to go right through. Is in. Scores! Peter McNabb in a brilliant goal. As fine a goal as you want to see.
Peter McNabb is one of Boston's Bruins. Born in Vancouver, British Columbia, Peter moved to Southern California at an early age, where he developed a love for all sports.
You play everything in California. I played basketball, baseball, football, all the big 3, I guess, is sports. I really enjoyed them, but hockey was always the one thing I enjoyed doing most. My father was coach of the minor league team there, the San Diego Gulls at that time, and I always had a keen interest in hockey, and it was always talked about around the house, and it was, as I said, the one thing that I really did enjoy.
In Peter's first 2 years as a Bruin, he scored 79 goals, leading the team both years in goal production, but credits his success to his line mates.
I play with Terry and John Winston hugely, and they're 2 great favorites of the fans. So, you know, I go out and just try and compliment them. You know, I'm not. If I was a boxer, you would say I was a counter puncher. I don't initiate the action. Terry initiates all the action. I wait for mistakes. Terry will go in and take 2 players, and then I'll watch where the puck goes, and then I'll go and pick it up, or I'll pick up rebounds. That's how I play my game, basically.
Peter is married and lives in the northern suburbs of Boston. He attributes much of his success to his wife, Diana.
Yeah, my wife is an athlete, and she has her master's in sports psychology. And so I occasionally get the impression that she's analyzing me and what I'm thinking and what I'm doing and trying to come up with some mysterious formula for getting me out of slumps. Hockey is the biggest thing in the McNabb household. People say, well, you know, you should be able to leave it at the rink, but I leave the bad stuff at the rink. But I'm always thinking hockey, preparing myself for the next game and the next set of games. And my wife, she's very good she's got a job which helps break up the monotony of the hockey, just thinking hockey. So we have 2 worlds, and we live them separately, but we bring them together at home. The 2 dogs are a big part of our life. We have a good time. We do things with them. We'll take them running. We'll take them swimming. We'll get up the canoe and we'll go for a paddle in the canoe, and they'll swim along the side of the boat. And it's just general things around that you do when you like someone. They don't have to be exciting. We don't have to go downtown to a nightclub to eat, to enjoy ourselves. So, and I like movies. My wife's not a big movie fan, but I'll drag her along. I have to screen them sometimes before she'll go to find out if they're any good or not.
And here's Swinstick in, save, rebound, McNabb scores! Peter McNabb ties it up!
Playing on a winning team is important to Peter McNabb, but to Peter, individual goals are not important.
The only goal I have is in my professional career is to win a Stanley Cup. That was the only goal that I ever wanted. I think it's the only goal this team has. I think there's not one person that would put an individual award ahead of any chance at Stanley Cup. We've been there twice, and you know, with the team we have, we think we're better this year. We have to think that, of course, but we think we honestly believe we're better, and we're tough to beat. So I'm sure it'll be down to Montreal again, and maybe hopefully this is the year for us, because we're sure ready, and the team is working hard, and it's I think it's going to be even a more exciting year than last year, because it's going to end up the right way this year.
Valuable man for the Boston Bruins, Peter McNabb. They need scoring from him, and they need scoring from other people, such as Stan Jonathan, who has the only goal in the hockey game so far, his only goal of the playoffs thus far, to put the Bruins in front 1-0. In a moment, we'll talk with Bruins rookie Al Secord as Stanley Cup 79 continues in just a moment.
Very strange. Why people kick the new advantage radio? It would be simpler, no, to talk to a BF Goodrich dealer about the advantage radio. Shouldn't that be radio? That's what I said, radio. The BF Goodrich advantage radio.
In 1968, Canada was ready to take on the world. Pierre Trudeau promised us a just society and a bright future. Within a year, the Trudeau government began to tell us our representatives in Parliament are nobodies. Those who claim we can do better are gloomers and doomers. English Canadians are obtuse. Farmers are professional complainers. The unemployed have been told they're lazy. University students are creeps and should look for jobs in other countries. The provinces are characterized as greedy and selfish, and the rest of us are dismissed as too soft. Whose side is Pierre Trudeau on, anyway? On May the 22nd, vote Progressive Conservative. Give the future a chance.
From Boston Garden, the Bruins won and the Canadians nothing. We're in the second intermission, and every story written about this game, it will be mentioned prominently that Wayne Cashman came out of the hospital to put on the uniform and play for the Bruins tonight, but the completion of the story is that because Cashman is in uniform, rookie Al Secord is not. And I guess you don't argue much as a rookie when the captain wants to play, and of course he's so valuable to the team. It's sort of been the story of your season, though, Al. You have not played a whole lot.
Well, being a first-year man, I didn't really expect to get a lot of ice time, but quite a few times done. Cherry showed a lot of confidence in me, and in various games I did get a lot of ice time.
He said he had 16 goals on about 16 shifts, which is a nice compliment. The meaning, of course, is that when he did put you out, you produced very well for him, and I get the feeling that maybe you're a favorite of Cherry. Maybe he takes rookies under his wing. How have you found Cherry's coaching in this your first NHL season?
Well, I found he's helped me a lot in learning the basics of hockey and playing smart hockey this year. And like you said, I guess he has started taking me under his wing and helped me along and showing confidence in putting me out there. And I like the guy quite a bit.
It's not a team that includes a lot of rookies from one season to another, and I think it's a compliment to you that you have made the team and have been here all season long. Is it an easy team to be a rookie on, if you know what I mean?
Well, the guys have been great to me all year, and once you make the team, well, the only way you make the team is by, doing hard work and showing that you belong, that you'll put out for the guys and play as a team member. And once you do that, the guys treat you right, and they take care of you, and everything works out really fine.
Al, it could be said that you're a Boston type of player, that maybe you fit the team as much as the team fits you. Do you like their style, and is that your style?
Well, I'm not really a real finesse player like Lafleur and Lemaire and those guys, and I have to work on make the team by forechecking in the corners and shooting and doing the hitting job, which Don Cherry likes. And I was really fortunate enough to get drafted to a team like this.
Al, I always like to ask of a rookie who might be more wide-eyed than some of the veterans around, just what you notice in the dressing room, and particularly in this series. The Bruins haven't beaten the Canadiens in a playoff since 1943, and of course you and I don't remember back that far. But do you get the feeling that that aura of Montreal's dominance sort of pervades the dressing room, and the players almost don't even like the mention of the word Montreal?
Well, it's, like you said, they haven't won since 1943, and it's kind of a rivalry between Boston and Montreal, and the guys are thinking about it all the time. We've been thinking about it all year, that we'd have to meet them finally, and we're just going to try and get it together this year and really put out 100% and beat these guys.
There'll be some happy folks in Espanola, Ontario watching, and I know you'd like to say a few words just to know you're thinking of them.
I'd just like to say hello to my grandmother and my mom and dad and sister and all the people up in Espanola.
Al, thank you for joining us. Al Secord, 16 regular season goals for the Bruins, a fine first-year performance. In a moment, Dick and Gary discuss the first two periods. Excellent hockey so far as we return with the Stanley Cup playoffs in just a moment.
No bagging, no cleanup. The work-saving Electromulch. One machine for a beautiful, healthy lawn.
A beautiful new breed of Mustang has become a runaway success. The 79 Mustangs from Ford. Dramatic new styling in a full line of two-door and three-door models. From the elegance of a thoroughbred gear to the excitement of Mustang sport. Mustang comes standard with an economical 2.3-liter overhead cam engine. Break loose. Ride beyond the dull and ordinary. Capture the beautiful new breed of Mustang. A runaway success at your Ford dealer.
Hey, come here. Take a look at this. See? Wow! The new McCulloch chainsaws. This is the new Power Mac 320.
Look at these teeth.
They can sharpen themselves with the press of this button.
Wow!
And see this?
Is that a tail?
No, it's a handle mounted to soak up vibration.
What's this?
McCulloch's chain brake handguard for safety.
That's smart.
No other saw at any price has all those features.
The new 300 series, part of the full new line of McCulloch home and professional chainsaws. At your McCulloch dealer, now.
Here at the Boston Garden stands Jonathan's goal. Midway past the halfway mark of the first period is still standing up, and the Bruins lead the Canadiens 1-0. And Gary Dornhofer, the fans are still seeing a pretty good hockey game and a pretty good solid effort on behalf of the home team.
Absolutely, and they had to come up with an effort like that. And it's interesting to note how many teams can hold the Montreal Canadiens to only 10 shots after 2 periods of play. When you do that, you have to be doing something right. And the Bruins, whenever a Canadian touches the puck, there's a Bruin right beside him, and they're doing a great job of checking.
Well, in any 1-0 hockey game, of course, the goaltenders are playing a very key role in keeping it 1-0, and we've had examples of that here tonight. In the second period, Kenny Dryden came up on John Wentzik, ends up with the shot right here. But we've had good goaltending, Gary.
Absolutely, and this is what you count on. Here you'll see Wentzik breaking in. Gets his shot away on the short side, but Dryden was equal to the task, kicking it off. And, the big fellow, he has to come up with those saves now. Very important that he doesn't let the next goal in.
You mentioned off the top of the show that Gilbert was against the Flyers in that 74 final. People forget, and I forgot briefly, that Cheapers was with the WHA at that time. But I tell you, Cherry still looks pretty good with his selection of a pinch hitter tonight.
Oh, absolutely. And if he keeps going like this, I wonder what his next decision will be.
This was a big one off Lambert.
Of course, Lambert got the breakaway here. Now, going in on the breakaway, you want that goalie to make the first move. Now you'll see Gilbert going down, gets his pad on. I think if Lambert had just moved a little further to his right, waited another couple of seconds for Gilbert, to get in a prone position, he might have been able to flip it over, but he was a little bit too close. Gilbert came up with a big save.
He might have a book on him. He had the same chance at Montreal Saturday, made the same move on Cheevers. Dryden again here in this particular replay, this time off Rick Middleton.
Well, of course, the play starts with a great forechecking of O'Reilly. Middleton comes right in front of the net. Really doesn't have anything to shoot at. Dryden came up big, but then you're going to see that rebound come loose. You notice how the puck tracks people? Seems like everybody's involved in that play, but as it turned out, the puck was under Dryden. Van Hellemond called it, and that was a stoppage of play, but good action there on both of those plays.
So a very important period coming up. The Bruins lead the Canadians 1-0 Boston, live from the Boston Garden, the Stanley Cup playoffs.
So the score, 1-0 for Boston over Montreal. The teams are back on the ice. The only goal scored by Jonathan from Park and Foster. The time, 12:19 in the first period. Shots on goal, Boston 18, Montreal 10. A breakdown in the first period was 10-6 for Boston, 8-4 in the second period. And the next game in this series on Thursday evening. 7:30, fourth game in the series, a fifth game if necessary, back in Montreal on Saturday.
Well, they come from all over here at the Boston Garden, obviously. They're into the second period now at Madison Square Garden. No score, the Islanders and the Rangers. If Al Arbor continued to alternate goaltenders, Chico Resch would be in the nets for the Islanders tonight. And I'm sure John Davidson's back in for
Very important now from a Bruins standpoint is they don't try to sit on this goal lead. You know how explosive Montreal can be, although they haven't done very much tonight. But just that one break and watch out. So they have to stay on the offensive and keep penetrating the Montreal zone.
It is Jarvis and Gainey up front. Lambert in the penalty box. He has 49 seconds left in his penalty. Middleton, McNabb, Park, Redmond and O'Reilly on the power play for the Boston Bruins. And it's Park leading it into the center ice area. He tipped it in. O'Reilly is going in. Gainey in the corner. Cleared it, not out. McNabb knocked it down, and his shot goes off Robinson's stick over the glass behind Dryden.
Well, the obvious defensive battle's going on as well in New York. We've just been handed the shots on goal in the first period. The Rangers had 8, and the Islanders had 5. So a couple of pretty high-scoring hockey clubs, Gary, the Canadians and the Islanders, running into some tough defensive opposition in this semifinal round.
So that area is just inside the Canadians' blue line at the outer rim of the face-off circle. From the face-off, Savard, he shoots it down the ice, and the Bruins scurry back there to get their power play into operation. The power play has not been potent tonight. Now it's Savard. Park got it for Boston. Now Redmond ahead to Middleton. Robinson with Savard on the other side. Robinson shoots it down the ice. So we have the expiration of the penalty, and they are 6 aside again. Redmond starting out ahead. It goes to Middleton. He fired it into the corner. O'Reilly going in after Robinson, who shoots it along the boards. Lafleur ahead to Lemaire. Mondeau moving up, and Clark is there. He touches it. It is icing against the Canadians.
Well, there is Brad Park playing another fine game for the Bruins. He has a career total of 26 playoff goals. There's his season totals. He missed half the season with injury. The next time he scores in Stanley Cup playoff competition, he will be all alone as the top goal scorer amongst defensemen. I'll give you 3 guesses, gentlemen, as to who he is currently tied with. 26 goals in playoff competition, defensive, from a defenseman standpoint.
Well, the obvious fellow would be Orr.
Well, that's the obvious answer.
Oh. Now Marcotte shot right on, and Dryden covers up. There we have Carson and Langway jostling on the board. The Bruins playing very disciplined hockey. In other games during the regular season, you'd see Cashman continue to win there, and they're going off, I suppose, but they're both going off.
Well, you're going to see the play right from the face-off. Again, Marcotte grabs a hold of it and lets it go. And Cashman's heading for the net, which he should do.
And in they went behind, and as a result of this little set-two, Langway and Cashman have gone to the penalty box. From the Boston Garden, this is Stanley Cup 79.
In the late 1950s, banks weren't in the business of promoting small personal loans. Then one bank made it their business. The bank was Scotiabank, and they're still giving credit where credit is due. If you could use a little help with your dream, whatever your dream, see Scotiabank. They've got everything you need.
And there you see Langway and Cashman in the penalty box. Rattel, Marcotte, Smith, and Milbury. They are all in over the Montreal line for this face-off. Lemaire against Rattel. Robinson reaches in there and has it. Takes his time in behind the net. Now on the right side, it goes to Lemaire. Coming down with Chartrand. Long shot into Gilbert. It's loose. And Milbury in the nick of time. Here's a break. Marcotte is getting a break. He's going right in the goal. He shoots it. Dryden pulls off a scintillating save. Here's Rattel. Dryden clearing it away. What an opportunity for the Bruins. Back to Milbury. He fired it in. And Lemaire knifed it into the center ice area. Rattel coming back in. He passed it over on the wing that was open. And Chartrand for Montreal. Marcotte intercepted. Rattel turning at the line. Gives it to Milbury. He caroms it off the board. Marcotte fell against Dryden. Robinson coming out ahead to Lafleur to Lemaire. Lemaire going in. He shoots it. And coming out to challenge Lemaire was Gilbert. And it went right on Gilbert's pass. Here's Marcotte. Out on the left side into Canadian territory. Rattel from the left wing. Couldn't get it. Chartrand to Robinson. Robinson striding down to the Boston line. Here's Robinson taking a look into Lafleur. He lost it, and Park has it for the Bruins. Park over to Miller. Miller at the line. There's the shot, a rising, screaming shot off Dryden.
And boy, Miller took a check to make the play that time. Robinson leveled him. Kenny Dryden, Gary, just a super save off the classic breakaway situation with Marcotte.
Well, when you talk about a turning point of a game, this could have been it from the Boston standpoint. Watch the save on the right leg of Dryden. And that's what you need. You know, that could turn this whole game around right here.
The Bruins won, Canadians nothing. Back it goes. Here's Redmond winding up for the shot. And Dryden was there on the short side again. Savard clearing it down the ice. They're playing five-a-side. Park back to touch it, and the Canadians called on the icing infraction.
Well, even Don Cherry doesn't change any expression. Just taking it all in. Wondering when the Bruins are going to get that next goal. You know, after Dryden made the key save, Gilbert came up with one of his own. So this game certainly belongs to the goaltenders.
We have Redmond and Park well in over the line. Back it goes. Up to get it is Gainey. Jarvis is on the other side. Gainey winding up. He was checked by Park. Park got away from Jarvis. Ahead on the left side to Miller at center down to the line. A pass to Schmutt. The penalized players are back on. Redmond shooting it off the corner glass, and Big Lupien is after it for Montreal. Park over on the other side. Now Miller clearing it in. 16 minutes and 20 seconds left in regulation time. Just the one goal separating the teams, and it's Risebrough over to Tremblay. Back to Risebrough. He played it back. In behind the net it goes. Rick Smith off the board. Now Lupien handing it off to Risebrough, losing it to Schmutt. Here's Smuts at the line, and he rattled that one off Lupien's leg. It comes to the side of the net. And the face-off will be in Canadian territory.
Tonight's Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Boston Garden.
The world of Amway come to serve you.
How do you make your laundry sparkle?
With Amway SAH detergent.
How do you protect your family's nutrition?
With Nutrilite food supplements.
How do you protect your family's safety?
With an Amway smoke detector.
How come you always look so great?
I use Artistry Cosmetics by Amway.
When someone wants to tell you about Amway, listen and get the whole story.
Shop the world of Amway. So easy to do.
15:55 remaining in regulation time here at the Boston Garden, and the goal by Jonathan, still the only scoring play of the hockey game.
Now, Riseborough against McNabb. Savard takes over, plays it up on the left side for Lambert. He has had excellent scoring opportunities for Montreal. There's the pass, and it's picked out by Middleton. Over with McNabb. Here's McNabb winding up! And a big close save by Dryden on a sizzling low shot. Dryden getting his toe on it. Now on the other side. Here's Savard, upended by Middleton. McNabb falls. He clears it in. Lupien rips it around the board. Smith in it goes to O'Reilly. O'Reilly trying to center it against Lupien. Now puck back in the center ice area. Rick Smith. Ahead it goes. Middleton couldn't pick it up. Mondu ahead to Lambert. Lambert over to Tremblay. Tremblay over the line. He lost it. And it's Rattel. He can't get out. O'Reilly recovers. He lost it to Connor. Here's Connor. Connor taking his time. In it goes. There's a shot right on by Hughes. Another shot. Another shot. A wild pull-up. A shot. Oh, Stevens comes up magnificently.
Well, the Bruins are getting a little loose in their own end, and the Canadians had 3 or 4 good chances. And who comes up big but that fellow right there, Gilbert. Just great action, and what a performance he's putting on tonight.
You know, every time Scotty Bowman's used Pat Hughes and Sam Connor tonight, Gary, they're fellas from the trenches, if you will. They've provided him with a lot of legs, and that was the case right there as Gilles Gilbert draws a tremendous standing ovation. Well, followed here, folks. It's a case of watch the bouncing puck because the Canadians had all kinds of chances.
You know, and there he's laying on the ice. He just can't get up. Right. He made a stop with a skate. There's the pad. There's the chest. Boy, oh boy, what an effort.
Park might have got that one. I don't know. That one might have been going underneath him. In any event, the Bruins covered up, but Gilbert was just tremendous.
But as you had indicated, this line here of Hughes, Connor, and Mondu, they've been the most effective line for the Canadians. It seems like every time they're out on the ice, they're putting a little pressure on them.
Cam Connor came that close to another very important Stanley Cup goal. Well, there we see the broadcast location and the broadcast crews. The position for our co-frères from the Soirée de Hockey. No, don't adjust your sets. We're not wearing the blue jackets. We've just taken them off. At least Danny and I have.
Gary, that's the type of goaltending you have to get for success in the playoffs or any time.
No question about it.
Hughes, there he is. He was the fellow who took the first shot. Now it's Rattel with Jonathan over the line and Cashman. Jonathan shooting it. It rolls in front. Connor on the left side. Out into the center ice area it comes. Park trying to corral it. He does. Gets it ahead to Jonathan. Over it goes. Here's Cashman getting set, trying to center it against Robinson. Mondu and Rattel fighting for possession. And the play is stopped. 14:11 left in regulation time. 1-0. The Bruins in front.
There was a case where the Bruins had tied up behind the net. 3 men were behind the goal line there, and all of a sudden Jonathan saw this, pulled up deep in the slot. In case the Bruins lost it, Jonathan was the back checker. Now this is good concentration.
And this is pulsating hockey. Great end-to-end action, even though we haven't that many shots on goal. Now they jostle. Langley took his man out, and Savard took the puck. The Bruins up there, forechecking. Now it goes to the far side. There's a shot by Marcotte wide. Smott's getting set. He feeds it in there. The Bruins' strategy, stay up there on top of Montreal if they can. Now the Canadians starting out, led by Lemaire. He shoots it into the corner. Lafleur going in. Langway shooting it. And that hurt Bobby Smott. Here is Savard. Savard, a shot. A loose puck, another shot. And Lafleur backhanded it over the top of the net. Out it comes to Marcotte at center. Rattel cruising along on the left wing, rolls it in. Here is Langway. He was born in this area. He'd like to get a goal now. There's a pass for Gainey. Down the ice it goes. Rick Smith touching it, and it's icing against the Canadiens.
This is Stanley Cup 79 from the Boston Garden.
Well, it's high time I was breaking away, 'cause it's my time. Gonna have it my way. Gonna grab my friend and head out today. We're gonna raise our glass to the good times. Boston Canadians. Boston Canadians. Raise a glass of Canadians. Raise a glass to the good times.
As that flurry of action ended, the Bruins drew a penalty for too many men on the ice. Gary, here's that chance the Canadians had. Lafleur with the big one.
Well, this is Lafleur's first crack at a goal tonight. He got that puck too far in front of him there and lifted it over the net.
You know, it's just amazing, though, hockey players like Lafleur and other good scorers. He just had that split second to make up his mind, and the only place he could have put it was up high. How they can see that with all those people around. Anyway, the Canadians right now, there you see the penalty against the Bruins. 2 minutes for too many men being served by McNabb. And the Canadians have their first power play of the game.
And McNabb is serving the penalty. We have Mondu, Lemaire, LaRouche, Robinson, and Lafleur on the power play for Montreal. Marcotte, Redmond, Rick Smith, and Milbury defending the Bruins. Let's see, it's called
two-line pass.
Two-line pass offside. Redmond did not think so. Naturally, he wouldn't think so. Isn't that right, Terry? You've done that, too.
No.
Well, this is certainly the moment of truth for the Bruins. You know, they have to put a little pressure on the Canadians coming out of their own end. No, just don't let them penetrate that zone too easily.
A minute and 40 seconds left in the penalty. Marcotte moving in. Redmond moves in. Now Robinson giving it to Lemaire. Back to Robinson. Over to Lafleur. Lafleur down on that right wing. He dropped it back. Mondu to Lafleur. Lafleur getting it back to Robinson. He shoots and he hit the goal post. He grazed the outside. Now Robinson going back off to get that puck that came off the post, the outside, and off the board. Here's Lemaire. Lemaire ahead. LaRouche is taken out of the play. Rick Smith clearing it on the glass. Lafleur stops it. Lafleur dumping it in front. Now the Bruins coming out. Redmond coming down with Marcotte. Here's Redmond. Good move by Redmond. Redmond trying to get it in front. And Lafleur got his leg in front of it. That was an excellent move by Redmond. Now it's Lafleur on the right side, going in over the line. Mondu trying to barge through there. And Gilbert shoots it down the ice. 37 seconds left in the penalty, and the Canadians try it again. A wave of 4 Montrealers broken up by Sims. Robinson in the center ice area. Robinson working down to the line. Robinson is over the line. Back. Tremblay to Lafleur. To Tremblay, into Robinson. Robinson to Tremblay. To Robinson again. Here's Lafleur. In it goes to LaRouche. LaRouche making a move. Goes behind the net to Lemaire. Here's Robinson. Robinson getting it in front. Loose puck, and it rolls wide. Canadians into the corner. Robinson loses it to Puck. And the penalty has expired. And a standing ovation for the defensive team of the Bruins. Here's Lambert over to Tremblay. Tremblay on the right side. He feeds it in behind the net. And it was called on the offside.
You know, in that particular case, Don Cherry elected to go with 3 defensemen on a forward to kill off that penalty. And what a great job they did.
You know, one thing, the Canadians got the penetration, Gary, to a degree, but no room to move once they got into the Boston zone. The Bruins were right on top of them with those passes, what have you. Did a great job. They did get a really good chance, especially in that final 60 seconds of the penalty.
Well, you want to put some pressure on the offensive team and yet not get yourself out of position, which they did so well.
Now the Bruins, Jonathan clearing it in. Dryden watching Cashman. Here is Cashman. Cashman getting it back to Rick Smith. They feed it in behind the net. Rick Smith going in against Lambert. They fight for it on the boards. Risebrough over to Tremblay. Here is Savard with that spinorama move. Gives it off to Tremblay. Tremblay had to get it back. He was being checked. Langway over on the far side. Now Jonathan clearing it out to Miller. Miller, a pass over to Cashman. Cashman getting set. He fired at the rebound. And a magnificent save by Dryden on Jonathan. Now the Canadians coming back. Lambert struggles to get in there. He's mixing it up with Rick Smith. Here are the Bruins. Milbury, he cleared it into the corner. Jonathan, number 17, on the move. Now on the boards, they fight for it. Jarvis coming down to the Boston line. Jarvis clearing it in. It goes to the far side. 9 minutes and 48 seconds left in regulation time. And this has been a titanic struggle. 1-0 the score. Jonathan's goal in the first period, standing up. And the goaltending has been superb. Now Chartrand laying it over to Robinson. Here's O'Reilly. He lost it. Canadians led by Jarvis to Gainey on the right side. It hit the linesman, Christensen. Now Middleton jammed out of the play by Chartrand. And they get a whistle for a stoppage in that center ice area.
With the score, the Boston Bruins 1, the Montreal Canadiens 0. This is Stanley Cup 79.
Since 1977, we've had ESP. ESP is the Ford Extended Service Plan option. It covers specified repair costs to major components of new Ford and Mercury cars, even light trucks, for 3 years or 60,000 kilometers. ESP also includes towing, a courtesy car, and servicing across Canada and the U.S. The Ford Extended Service Plan. Ask for full details at participating Ford and Mercury dealers.
Well, we are seeing playoff goaltending at its classic best, Gary. Dryden with an example right here off Cashman, and I think it was Jonathan.
Well, Cashman takes the original shot, and Jonathan, that second man, we always say that second man head for the net, and Jonathan did this, had a good chance, but Dryden, 2 key saves.
9 minutes and 10 seconds. This is the third period. That's the time remaining in the third period in regulation time. Miller shooting it in. Now Robinson behind the net, cleared it over on the other side. Chartrand gives it to Connor. Connor coming down. They sweep it into Boston territory. Hughes is bumping the Sins. Hughes comes up with it for Chartrand. He can't get it. Crawling on the ice is Middleton to O'Reilly. Ahead at the line. Canadians trying desperately to keep it in. They bring it in on the offside.
Well, Pat Hughes, he knew it was offside. He hung on. According to the out-of-town scoreboard here, the Rangers have taken a 1-0 lead over the Islanders. That game at Madison Square Garden in the second period. Well, you saw Cheevers, the normal Bruin goaltender at playoff time. You are now looking at Gilbert, who is in the barrel tonight, and what a job he has done. The goaltending has been outstanding. Goaltending.
Lemaire, Lafleur, and Gainey against Marcotte, Rattel, and Smots, and the Canadians clearing it in. They race in there. Time is a factor, even though we have over 8 minutes to go. But in this type of hockey game, goals are difficult to come by, and the Bruins lead 1-0. This could be icing against Montreal. It is.
You know, we always used to say your first period, you don't get a goal. Second period, you don't get a goal. You ever get one, the floodgates could open, and you always keep this in mind.
This Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Boston Garden.
This man is about to make his morning pot of fresh drip coffee before he goes to bed. He adds his favorite coffee, puts in enough water for 2 cups to 10, and then sets the built-in timer to start his coffee 8 hours later.
Night, dear. Night, Ramona.
Good
morning.
The brew starter from Canadian General Electric. A new idea that coffee lovers are waking up to.
Face off in Canadian territory between Lemaire and Rattel. Now Schmott's going after it around the net. At the point, Milbury has shot. It rolls to the side of the net. Schmott is dumped by Lupien. Savard clearing it to Gainey. Gainey couldn't trap it. Smith has it intercepted by Lemaire. Lemaire in on the left side. Takes the shot. Gilbert getting it with that right pad on the short side. Rattel missed that pass from Smith. This is going to be icing against Boston.
Now, it's quite a story being written in the Stanley Cup playoffs by Bobby Sheehan, who has been brought up from the minors by the Rangers. And he has scored that goal for the Rangers on a power play from Hickey and McEwen at 3:14 in the second period. They lead the Islanders 1-0. That game did start later than this one. They are now nearing the halfway point of the second period.
Just saw Scotty Bowman. This is a very nervous type of game for Scotty. He'll go through a lot of ice tonight. I wonder if they give him a bucket of ice there at Boston.
Well, the coaches will certainly make some decisions, you know, in this last 7:42. You know, who to put out there in certain situations. Face-offs become ever so important.
So let's see what happens here. The Bruins get that draw. Sims to Jonathan. He cleared it off Chartraw's stick. Chartraw digging down at the line. Weak shot. Chartraw barges into the corner. Tremblay follows in. Given a shot by Cashman. And is rolled gently down on the left wing by McNabb. That is Robinson to Chartraw. Intercepted by Cashman. Cashman couldn't get the shot away. Risebrough to Tremblay. He's bumped by Jonathan. Now, Sims is knocked down. Cashman coming in. Cashman getting set. He fired it. A very clever move by Cashman. Getting behind the defense. Now here's Sims with a shot. Right on. They got away on it. Oh! Close pass. And Risebrough ahead to Robinson. Robinson down to the line. Pass over to Tremblay. There's the shot. Loose puck in front of the net. Here's Robinson. He scores! Robinson! And the Canadiens bench empty.
Well, I tell you, we've said it before, and it's a classic case again, Gary, of missing at one end, putting it in at the other. Almost an identical chance, was it not? The Bruins alone in on Dryden, a rebound. They couldn't corral it. And Todd Cherry looked at the clock, 6:37 left. Go to the other end. The Canadiens, Robinson manages to get his stick on it in the net.
Jonathan, Cashman, both all alone in Dryden, just couldn't lift it over him. And then, of course, Gilbert comes up with a save on the other side. Now, look at this. Look at that. Both of them there. Nobody around.
All right, play heads up the other end. It's Robinson who lugs the puck up the ice to start the Canadiens' attack after the pass from Risebrough. And it will be Robinson who ends up with the goal. Now, there's the same thing with the Canadiens.
Gilbert makes the save, but he's out of position then, and you know, sometimes you need that help from your defenseman to cover up. But Milbury, he was down covering up on the original play.
Boy, you got to give Larry Robinson credit for getting the shot away, considering the position he was in. He was falling, what have you. This has just been a tremendous hockey game. It's now tied 1-1. LaRouche and Tremblay assisting Larry Robinson at 13:23 here in the third period. And the Canadiens, who have trailed since the 12-minute mark of the first period, have tied the game 1-1.
Well, this has happened before where the Bruins have had leads. The Canadiens have scored a goal and then watch out. So I think in a situation like this that we're in, the Bruins really have to regroup and make sure that the Canadiens don't get another fast one. That's been their downfall in the past game.
I think Van Hellemond is telling them no more of that coming off the bench, boys. That was, they put the kibosh on that in game 1 in Montreal.
So you see these pennants from the rafters, and there's the action in front of Gilbert.
Well, there's Sims down and out, and Gilbert well out of position.
So with 6 minutes and 34 seconds left in regulation time, it's tied at a goal. Here's Rick Smith ahead to O'Reilly. O'Reilly on the right side. Trying to clear it in, but it's called the offside. Oh, to be a good hockey player and Irish and play in Boston. That's Mr. O'Reilly.
I'll tell you, when you're playing against him, you've got your hands full because you know that if you have the puck and he's checking you, you're going to receive a bump. He comes to play, that man.
Plays a good, solid game. He's not a dirty hockey player, is he, Gary?
I wouldn't say so.
Thought you would. Now it's shot in off the glass. There's O'Reilly again in the corner. Here's Rattel. Rattel centering it in front. It's cleared off a stick over the glass. And they line up for the face-off to the left of Dryden.
Dick, we had mentioned before, you know, when the Bruins get possession in the Montreal zone, it seems that both their wingers try to jam the front of the net. And that way, the center iceman doesn't have anybody to pass it to. So I think they should get somebody on the slots or on the circles and to give that centerman an opportunity of finding that open man.
Well, look at the determined faces on the Boston bench. John Rattel waiting for this draw as he faces off against Doug Jarvis.
The Bruins, everybody up. Here's Rick Smith getting set for the shot. Jonathan trying to get it loose. Down on the ice. Montreal Canadiens, Jarvis. So it's against his body, and Don Cherry working on that gum just like Toe Blake used to. He is disappointed.
Live from the Boston Garden, the Stanley Cup playoffs.
As a boy, I loved to fish. Now I own a fleet. With every catch, the company used to get tangled up with paperwork. Then I heard of AES word processing systems. Our productivity doubled without any complaints. In fact, they thank me. Store work on diskettes. Make revisions on the screen. Type perfect copies at 540 words per minute. The money AES saves me this year could help buy another boat.
So again, we look at Cherry as he looks to that area to the left of Dryden, where Miller is facing off against Jarvis. Smith playing up with Milbury and over the line for the Bruins. Canadians get the draw. Lupien to the other side. Jonathan is on it. He passed it back. It's not over the line. Here is Miller feeding it into the corner, and the Bruins looking for the tie, breaking in what could be the winning goal, go to the attack. But the Canadians come back quickly. Now it rolls into Gilbert. Here's Connor with a shot and a big save by Gilbert. The Bruins. Miller. A pass hit O'Reilly. Connor in behind the line. He has played well for Montreal tonight. Connor. Now Gainey lost it. O'Reilly ahead to Jonathan. Savard in there to take over. O'Reilly watching him. Now the puck is loose. Driving out of the net. Here's Lupien. Score tied at a goal. Big Lupien rolls it in rather weakly. Scotty Bowman making wholesale changes as Jonathan gives it off to O'Reilly. O'Reilly with Jonathan over the line. Here's O'Reilly. O'Reilly working it from the corner. Try to center it. O'Reilly to Miller. Miller getting set. Into O'Reilly. Over to Brad Clark. In on the boards. Let's see. A mix-up. Jonathan is down there with Dryden. That was out of the play, but definitely we're going to have a penalty or two.
Might be both of them. Might be a penalty against Dryden and Jonathan. Sort of a strange one. The Bruins controlling the puck.
That's the tough part. You know, the Bruins had excellent position, and they have to draw a penalty on that case, even if it would be a double.
It is Dryden.
Gary, I think when two penalties are being called, I don't think they should stop the play.
We're going to have to talk to the Rules Committee on that one.
No, I often wondered about that.
All right, we're going to take a look at the action around the Canadiens' goal crease area, and maybe we can pick up here the reason for the penalties. Slashing against both of them. So they both end up with slashing penalties at 15-11, giving the teams a lot more ice room.
I didn't know that Dryden was like that, protecting his crease. I thought he was very mild-mannered, but you can see I was wrong.
I thought forwards thought all goaltenders were like that.
Now Gainey goes to the left side, rolls it down the ice. 4 minutes and 42 seconds left in regulation time. Here is Redmond swinging away from Gainey. In over the line, Rattel. Here's Rattel going in the pocket. It's in the crease. And Savard cleared it. Now Canadians back with Gainey. Gainey cutting to the line. Gainey going after it, plays it back, and was called on the offside. That was a close call with Rattel going in.
Now, a time like this, it's maybe almost a little too early, but perhaps not quite to say. It's almost like overtime right now, Gary, through the last 4 or 5 minutes of a game like this.
That's right. You know, Rattel just shoveled it at the net and somehow handcuffed Dryden and just lay there. Luckily, Savard got back in time to clear it.
4:23 left here in this third period. The teams play 5 aside, 1:34 remaining, and the penalties assessed to Dryden and Jonathan.
Now Robinson ahead to Gainey, and that is an offside. Savard does not like that call. However, he doesn't get anywhere. He'll just have to take his dislike of the call and take it with him.
Rattel gets a breather right here. Nab taking over at center ice, right there with Middleton.
Now Middleton on the right side. Here's Middleton rolling it in. Dryden clearing it to the other side. Redmond in there to stop it. It goes off Jarvis to center. Brad Park. Over it goes to McNabb. McNabb rolling it in. Here's Middleton going in. By Savard. And the crowd, the Bruins supporters, react very, very strongly on that. And their reaction would indicate that they thought it should have been a penalty, Garrett.
It's going to be a good penalty before they'll call it, and I thought Savard did an excellent job. He wasn't hooking, had his stick in front of Middleton, had him tied up pretty good. That's one thing about the Canadians. Very rarely will you see them take a bad penalty unless it's to save a goal.
So at this stage, late in the third period, and the score tied at a goal, face-offs at either end are very, very important. This time, it's in the Montreal zone. Back it goes. Brad Park over to Redmond. Redmond shooting it, and it hit Rattel in front of the net. Lemaire with Rattel draped over him. Now Lupien. Lupien behind the net. Here's Lafleur back to Lupien. He's lugging it up for the Canadians, gives it to Savard. Savard into the center ice area, ahead to Lemaire. Lemaire against Brad Park. They fight for it in behind. The Gilbert, and the face-off now will be in Boston territory. 3:22 left in regulation time. And it may be early to say that overtime looms large, but the way they've been scoring tonight, or the lack of scoring, we could have overtime.
I think there's a good possibility.
Well, there it is, 3:22 left in regulation time. 33 seconds remaining in the penalties as the teams continue to play 5 aside. Gilbert getting some help from linesman Christensen right there. The old my equipment is broken trick.
I think both teams have to be very aware when they're in the offensive zone that they just don't get rid of that puck blindly and throw it out in front of the net. Hang on to it. Make the other player take it away from you or freeze it. Because a situation like that can result in a break for the team.
Okay, now it's Robinson in over the line with Chartrand. Brad Park starts out. He has Marcotte with him. Milbury is trailing. Here's Brad Park getting set.
What a play, I'll tell you. And I just got drenched by a bottle of beer here. Look, I'm soaking wet. And look at the fans. They're just going wild. You know, I would have to think that Cherry would be a little more excited than he is right now. What a great play Park made there.
You know, the Bruins got a chance coming out of their own zone as the puck caromed off the linesman Christensen. And from there on, it was all Brad Park. Well, now he has broken the record he has shared with Bobby Orr the last little while. There's Park picking up the puck, and it's strictly end-to-end in the sense of the word.
At the start, it was only a 2-on-2, but Milbury made that possible by getting in the play and acting as a 3-on-2. Park faked the shot, had Robinson going down, and did he pick the corner on that one? Just a great individual effort.
No chance for Dryden. It was just a classic confrontation. We've had some problems with some fans possibly down around the Canadiens bench. They have loosened the glass down there, protecting the players in the bench area. Well, I don't know. Danny and I are still pretty dry. Gary, you were just in the line of fire. I'll tell you when that happened to me in this same spot was when Bobby Orr got the winning goal in 1970. And the minute it happened, I was so...
Well, I tell you, I think I got the whole, every bit of that one.
Well, there it is, Brad Park. At 16:48, Rattel draws an assist on the play. That sign is up to the minute right here at the Boston Garden. And now the Canadians have to catch up with 3:12 left in regulation time if we are going to have overtime. Here's a close-up look at Dryden watching. The puck comes in from out of your picture, and the Bruins have a 2-1 lead. And now we get a delay here at the Garden as the fans have pelted not only our friend Gary, but the ice surface as well.
Well, I got suds, I got water, other debris. As a matter of fact, someone, I think, grabbed my mic just as Park was going in there. I lost that, too. But what a goal. That was just magnificent.
Well, the player that wasn't even involved in the play, I thought he was very instrumental. That was Milbury. It was a 2-on-2. Lafleur had Marcotte. He's eliminated from the play. So then it was just Park against Robinson. Milbury caught up in the play. It turned out a 2-on-1. He used Robinson as a screen, put it home. Great individual effort.
So the Bruins 2, the Canadians 1. 3:05 left in regulation time. Here is Chartrand. Motts is up there forward checking along with Miller. Tremblay down on the right side, in over the line. There's a shot right on, and Gilbert covering up with Risebrough going in there. He and Miller are having words.
And now we've got an injured Canadian, Mario Tremblay, as Gilbert quickly dropped to his knees, and I didn't see what happened. I was watching the monitor to see what we were picking up on that Risebrough-Miller situation, and suddenly there was Mario Tremblay lying in behind the Boston goaltender, and he is still down on the ice. Gilbert dropped to his knees immediately to assist Tremblay. The whistle had gone, of course. And that was a strange turn of events. Don't know if we'll have a replay to be able to see what happened, unless he got nicked by a stray stick, which sometimes can happen.
Well, there certainly was a big scramble in front of Gilbert there, and he, as you had indicated, Dick, he may have picked up a stick in the mouth. And he looks like he has a cut
over the left eyebrow by the look of it. Pierre Manier, the Canadians trainer, is out there.
Mario wants to get up, and the trainer keeps pushing him down.
So we have this delay to let everybody reorganize with 2:52 left. The goal by Park came with the teams playing 5 aside as the result of that Jonathan Dryden set to. Scotty Bowman has been here before, of course, times like this. Last year, of course, the Bruins are in the same position. 2 years ago, the Canadians won the 2 games, coming in here with a 2-game lead. Last year, the Bruins won games 3 and 4 to even the series. In Game 4, it went into overtime when the Canadians' Lafleur scored with, I think, 33 seconds left in regulation time to send it into overtime, setting the stage for Bobby Schmatz's game-winning goal. There is Mario Tremblay, and he has apparently been quite noticeably cut. So he sits down in a chair in the Canadians' bench area. The board here tells us the Islanders have scored, and that game is tied 1-1 at Madison Square Garden. They're in the second period. So we look at Mario Tremblay being tended to, and now we are almost set to resume play.
And the face-off will be to the left of Gilbert, who has been outstanding. And there is Cherry talking to, as I said the other night, he considers Marcotte the perfect hockey player. Great defensive hockey player, can score goals. So you see him, he's very important to the Bruins now as the Bruins defend with the 1-goal lead, with 2 minutes and 52 seconds left. Canadians, everybody up back to Chartrand. He fired it wide. That puck was on end. Here's Gainey going behind the net. Lambert is out of the penalty box. So is Jonathan. Lambert was sitting out the Dryden penalty. So they are now at a full complement of 6 each team. 2:41 left. Face off again to the left of Gilbert.
Gary, it's now a moment of truth for the Bruins, part 2 here in this third period.
That's right. You know, if I was Milbury there, I just don't want to freeze the puck in my own zone and allow another face-off. You know, keep that thing moving and try to get it out, because we all know what Lemaire can do with that draw, especially with Lafleur sitting back there in the slot area.
Now Rattel clearing it down on the left side. Chartreuse back after it. Can't clear it out the first time. Now it's Lafleur along with Gainey. Gainey in on that left side. Back to Lafleur. Here is Gainey. Gainey getting it back. Chartreuse forced out over the line. Robinson. Robinson to Chartreuse. Now Robinson. He has the lone goal for Montreal, the big fellow who loves to rush, and he does it beautifully. They clear it in there. Rick Smith shooting it up on the left side. Robinson is back after it. And now exactly 2 minutes left in regulation time. Boston 2, Montreal 1. Milbury coming up on the left side. They roll it in over the Canadiens' line. Now a minute and 46 seconds left. Lambert. Checking him is Rattel. Marcotte goes in there too. Rattel cleared it to the corner. The Bruins up there, forechecking. Now the Canadiens start out. It hits Marcotte. Mondeau is over the line. Here is Mondeau. Takes a shot to the corner. Tremblay is back on there. It rolls in front. Out over the line. There's Bobby Schmott coming in with Marcotte. Schmott taking his time. Rolls it in on the board. Now Tremblay is spun around. Gives it to Savard. 1 minute and a dozen seconds left. Savard on the right side. He can't get anywhere. He struggles forward with Rattel. Here is Mondeau. He's shot. It's chopped in by Savard. A minute left in regulation time. Dryden is trying to get out of the net. Here's Robinson. Robinson trying now to get it into Boston territory. They shoot it to the corner. They'd like to get a face-off in there, but the Bruins clear it down on the left side. Dryden goes to the corner along with Robinson. Miller in there, forechecking. Now Jonathan took a poke at Dryden. Dryden is warning Jonathan. There's a long pass stopped by Redmond at center. And the Bruins, the crowd is on their feet. 25 seconds left. Now it's at center. Here is the hero, Brad Park. He shoots it in. In it goes. It is icing. And 15 seconds. That could be a bad play.
Well, the Canadiens are certainly going to get another opportunity. Boston are doing just a tremendous job of forechecking, keeping them penned in, not allowing Dryden to come to the bench. And Park wasn't trying to ice it, but it turned out that way. And big face-off coming up.
Well, that's what the play did. It gives the Canadiens a chance that they wanted to. Scotty Bowman didn't make any effort to pull Dryden until the face-off was assured in the Boston zone. Now here's Dryden and Jonathan again. They have met before in this third period. And there they go again. This time no penalties. Jonathan's at the bench, and somebody has called a timeout. I think it's the Bruins. So we get the 30-second timeout with 15 seconds left here in regulation time. It's more of a breather, I think, right here, Gary, than a strategy session, although Cherry now is talking.
Well, right now, you want to get your best players rested, and you want your best players out on that ice. So you can expect to see guys like Marcotte, Rattel, Cashman, guys that really know how to check. Park, he'll be out there.
I think this fellow will be, too, Larry Robinson.
If I would have to pick a man, I'm going to take Rattel to take that draw. And it'll be interesting to see who the Canadiens get to go against them.
Well, as Doug Jarvis mentioned in the interview, Rattel's strength is so important in situations like that. Scotty Bowman normally would have people like Steve Shutt, Guy Lapointe out there. He's got to do some juggling as they are injured. So now he sorts out his troops. It's going to be Jarvis, I am sure, who will take the draw. At least he's out there. Lemaire is going to be poised in behind along with Lafleur. Robinson, Gainey, Savard along the line of scrimmage. There's Dryden on the Montreal bench. The Bruins have Rattel, Park, Cashman, Rick Smith, and Don Marcotte. So here we go, Danny.
What a finish.
Okay. Jarvis will face off against Rattel from the face-off. It's hit right in front of the net. Big save by Gilbert. Park gets it to the line. It's out over the line to the far side. Robinson touches it. It's called on the offside. 3 seconds left. 3 seconds left. You see that quick save by Gilbert on Lafleur?
He came to play tonight, I'll tell you. Cherry, he's going to look like a genius tomorrow. Look at that save.
The key might have been there. Whoever it was trying to get his stick on the deflection couldn't quite do it.
So this is just about a formality now. 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. The game is over. The Boston Bruins have defeated the Montreal Canadiens 2-1, and they are mobbing Gilbert. Okay.
Well, they should, Daddy. Boy, what a classic story that is. You come off the bench, a player who has publicly said he hasn't been too happy this year in Boston, wondering about his future, upset that he didn't play. But he is a smiling Gilbert right now. Well, Gary, it brings back memories for you, as you mentioned right off the top of the show, of some of the things he did against your Philadelphia Flyers in that 74 final. A bit of a forgotten man since then. The players are having to battle some of those fans out there, trying to get their stick.
Well, you know, as great as he played that, I'll never forget that one. Gilbert and Perrant, what a battle they had. And, of course, Bernie won that particular game 1-0, but Gilbert was super in nets, and what an effort he had tonight.
Well, he's been a forgotten man until this very moment, and now he is the man of the hour here in Boston. The Bruins have beaten the Canadiens 2-1. The series now stands 2-1 in favor of Montreal in game. In just a moment, our 3-star selection.
Now you know what you might find. Looking for good times. Whatever catches your eye, and when you raise a flag, raise up the Canadian. More fun Canadian. More fun Canadian. Raise a flag to the good side.
At Mutual Life, most of us learn about being a parent the same way you do, firsthand. So we understand your hopes for tomorrow, because we share them. And when you go to buy life insurance for yourself, we know who you're really thinking of, because we know what you know.
Life is a mutual affair. Hey,
Quaker State Motor Oil helps cars last.
Quaker State gives my truck real protection on the hottest days and helps it start on the coldest mornings, too.
Quaker State, that's the protection I want for stop-and-go city driving. I've been driving this car for over 5 years. Use nothing but Quaker State in it.
Quaker State Motor Oil helps cars last.
Maybe that's why it's the best-selling motor oil in North America.
The Boston Bruins get their first win in this series. It's now 2-1 in Montreal's favor, but the game score tonight 2-1 in favor of the Boston Bruins. The winning goal by Brad Park, and I'll tell you, they love the story of Jules Gilbert in Boston tonight, and it would do very well in Hollywood, too. Gilbert, who hadn't played in the playoffs and only played 23 regular season games, gets the call from Don Cherry tonight. Comes close to shutting out the Canadiens, but the big thing is a victory. I'd like to ask you what your reaction was when you knew that you would be playing tonight.
Well, I found out was Saturday after the game in Montreal, and actually I was, well, matter of fact, I was ready for the game, but Don Cherry come up to me in the bus and said, well, Gary, to get yourself ready, I want you to work hard, and said you might have a chance to play against Montreal back in Boston. So I thought he was dreaming for a while. But I was glad, you know, he gave me the call to give me the chance. Especially, you know, for the last couple of years, and we had a chance to have the opportunity to play in the playoffs. So now I'm glad I come up with a win.
Joe, you were supposed to play against Pittsburgh in the quarterfinal series. What was the story? What happened there?
Well, I was sick in the middle of the night, and when I get up, my face was all swelling up, and I guess it was a virus. And I didn't have that much temperature, but it was all, my face was all puffy, and I was really, really weak. So the coach said, well, he said, go back to the hotel, And he said, we'll see Sunday. He said, if you feel better, he said, I want you to play on Sunday. And I don't like to do that. I mean, you know, like, especially I had myself, you know, I was prepared for the game against Pittsburgh, and all of a sudden, Cheesy got the call. And it's pretty tough on the guy when you're not prepared for a game. So on Sunday, what happened, I couldn't even walk. I was afraid to walk down the street by myself. So I stayed back in the hotel again, and here I am.
Here you are with a big smile and a lot of cheering fans out there. Joe, you've openly wondered about your future, whether you would be back in Boston, where you might want to go if you did leave. And I wonder what you think this game, this victory might do for your career as a Boston Bruin, or have you got time right now in the wake of the excitement to even ponder that?
Well, I'm going to be free agent. I don't know where I'm going to be. I wish to negotiate my contract with the Boston Bruins if they want to talk.
I think they might want to talk a little more now than they did yesterday.
Well, let's face it. I mean, you know, one game doesn't make a season, doesn't make a playoff. I mean, you know, I wish I can do the same thing if I had a call, if they play on Thursday. But let's face it, I'd be glad to negotiate with Harry Sandin, and we'll see what happens.
You must be very pleased at the confidence that Don Cherry showed in you, the confidence that Jerry Cheever showed in you. We talked to him in the first intermission. He said he backed the decision 100%, wished you all the luck, and gave you any help he could.
Well, you know, I got to thank my teammate. My teammates, you know, they've been playing fantastic. And even the 2 games in Montreal, they've been playing well. And, you know, let's face it, we should win 1 game over there. But tonight we play extremely well, and I'm glad, you know, like, we come up with a victory. And hopefully we're going to win the second game here.
I got a feeling we'll see you in the nets in that second game. Jules, congratulations on an outstanding performance tonight. The first star of the game, Jules Gilbert. Star number 2, Ken Dryden. Star number 3, Brad Park. Tough to leave out fellas like O'Reilly and Robinson, but it was that sort of game. And we'll return with Stanley Cup 79 in just a moment.
Inspector, I have the clues.
You have the clues?
Meet me in a silver Mercedes outside.
Very easy.
79 Ford Granada, a North American classic, sometimes confused with Mercedes.
Inspector, where are you?
I'm in the car.
I'm in the car.
You in the car?
Are you sure you're in a Mercedes? Oh.
One good way to tell Granada is by its low price.
That's a Granada, you fool!
Of course, I can see that.
In this election campaign, Pierre Trudeau is fond of asking, who shall speak for Canada? Well, just who is he speaking for when he says, if it's a job you want, my heart does not bleed for you? Why should I sell your wheat? Those who are pretending national unity isn't the major issue are almost treasonable to Canada. Canadians have to be told that they're soft. If Canadians don't discipline themselves, we will discipline them, as we did with controls. It's not against the law to cause inflation. Canada deserves better government than this. On May 22nd, vote Progressive Conservative. Give the future a chance.
If the Danny Gallivan term pulsating hockey ever fit, it fit tonight. What a hockey game we had as the Bruins beat the Canadiens by a score of 2-1, sending this series at least to 5 games, and I think a lot of people can imagine it going 6, even 7. Stan Jonathan scored the first goal of the game for the Bruins at the 12:19 mark of the first period. It held up until the third period when Robinson tied it for the Canadiens 13-23, and then the winner by Brad Park from Jean Rattel at the 16:48 mark. Gilbert stopped 18 Montreal shots. Now you look at that in cold print and it doesn't seem much, but Gilbert out of 18 shots probably had a dozen outstanding saves to make. The Rangers have taken the lead over the Islanders, 2-1 for the New York Rangers in the third game of that series. The fourth game of this series, Thursday night, right back here at the Boston Garden. We'll remind you again, the start time is 7:30 p.m. That's Eastern time. As the Canadians return here to the Boston Garden, so will we, and we're sure that you will too. brought to you by Ford Motor Company on behalf of your Ford and Mercury dealers from coast to coast. The Bank of Nova Scotia with nearly 1